Yo, Menstrual.
Yes,
What program do you use, bro?
I use Ableton. You fuck with it?
It's cool. The
Like,
mix is a little is a little like a little
yeah,
dry, but like
I
it's
sort of
good
just
though.
pulled a beat off YouTube and I flipped it at the end there.
Okay. How long have you been making music, bro?
Been like 4, 5 years. I started off with just like pop music. I was really inspired by Charlie Puth.
You should make death metal music.
I don't know. I don't have the skills for that, bro.
No, that's cool though. I mean, you said you make beats though too?
Yeah,
Yeah, send me some, bro. Send me some.
I can just link you to my Spotify.
Guys, this is not the music talk about channel. This is the AnCap channel.
Yeah, my bad. I'll shut up.
Sorry.
What do you guys
I just got
you
my
guys want to
head
talk
down.
about AnCap? What do you guys know about AnCap?
About what?
Shut the fuck up.
You shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you shut the fuck up. This channel.
Bob, you're not a real
Hey.
AnCap.
Jerkman, are we mobbing Destiny again or what? Y'all were running it in there though. Y'all were running it.
Run it up.
Let the big man talk. Let the big man talk. The big man talk.
So you guys don't know what AnCap is?
Bro, shut up.
Tell me, bro. I'm listening.
Well,
What
AnCap
is it?
is basically anarcho-capitalism. The idea where essentially we abolish the state but have complete free market anarcho-capitalism.
Right.
I don't know if you want to use the phrase anarcho-capitalism in defining anarcho-capitalism.
I misspoke. I meant to say capitalism.
I'm too retarded for this conversation.
Did you say you're too retarded for this conversation?
Yep.
Sheesh. You don't seem that
Like
retarded.
generally, no, I think that's because like you're using the average Indian as a reference point.
I didn't even know you were Indian.
Oh fuck, my bad.
I mean, you sound a little bit Indian, but
I mean, I'm not completely retarded. I sort of try to see science behind everything. So even with like politics, I'm more into like psychology and evolutionary psychology.
yeah.
Wait, why did everyone?
But yep.
What happened?
Because they're all a bunch of dirt bags.
Bro, hold on.
Well, except for
I was
Delphine.
watching a little bit of the stream earlier, but who first brought up the whole, you know what thing? Like, who brought that up? I really want to know.
It was the I forgot his name, Nepal or whatever his name is. The orange guy.
How did the conversation even end up there?
I don't know. He wanted
It's
to be an
because they think like, well, I don't remember. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I presume it was something along the lines of, like I've heard like libertarians believe this, something like that. Was that what happened? Did someone just like bring it up because they know, you and taxation are libertarians?
Oh, he left. What's up, Cam?
Or I was just asking, like, did someone bring it up because they know you guys are libertarians?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I've
Yeah.
heard libertarians.
They know who we are.
It's the same thing with age of consent. Like, people just don't understand at all what libertarians actually. It's funny because most libertarians don't even believe as things we do because they're very controversial. Like certain things we believe, but. It's just funny because that Linda guy said like he was like talking about like,
Oh, it was Linda that brought that all up. Yeah, that was.
he was okay. Of course he brings it up and then he acts like. Anyway, of course we're gonna. Okay. he was like, oh, like he seemed to understand like, you know, libertarian law like is about conflict avoidance, which is rooted in the NAP. And he's like, oh, he said like who here is rejecting, or he asked like rhetorically like who here is rejecting the NAP, and it's like clearly you reject the NAP because you don't follow it like consistently. We're just following it consistently. That's where it leads us.
I'm pretty happy I'm playing on a World of Warcraft private server. That's pretty nice.
Pretty lit.
Have you ever played World of Warcraft, Cam, or?
No. I'm not really into like MMO.
Yeah,
What was I gonna say?
I'm an old head.
I don't even see how people like that were in here like would they accept that like gore videos should be illegal? Like, does that
I
make
asked
sense?
him that, but he refused to answer.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, now I have to go watch the.
No, I deleted that VOD because I don't want to get in trouble with the, you know.
Hold on. So what? What did he So you did you literally just ask him that exact question?
Yeah, and he said, "Oh,
What did he
that's just
say?
whataboutism." That's what he said.
How is that whataboutism? That's testing. Is he retarded? He's testing his legal theory. I find it funny how he's acting like he's like so philosophically literate while we are not. When, like, I heard him throughout the conversation. He was basically saying like, oh, this thing goes against many people's intuitions, like my intuition. Therefore, I'm just gonna say that like it's illegal, just literally because I feel like it. And then he's acting like that's not a silly position.
It's inconsistent.
Like how does your if you can't always trust your intuitions. Like there's a lot of conclusions, things that are true, I mean, that aren't intuitive. Like I don't know, like quantum physics or something. Like there's like a lot of unintuitive stuff. But it's like you just have to trust. You have to follow a certain method or like line of deductive reasoning in this case, and then you can determine like, or what we're doing is determining from non-aggression what is legal. And it's like it seems like he's like oh, I wouldn't even reject that. It's like, okay, then why aren't you just applying it consistently and seeing where it leads you? You're just rejecting it when something feels really bad. Like, what kind of methodology is that?
There is no methodology in it.
It's just like random. It's
all about fifis.
It's whim worship. Whim worship.
Yep.
Because there's just like, oh, this
Not to sound like a
feels-
fucking cultist fucking Randian. Taxation, you there?
I'm kind of sucked into a text conversation, but I am technically here.
Oh, okay. You okay?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Alright.
You guys
I made a
talking
lot of
about
money.
something else before?
Today.
Really?
Yeah, I did a lot of DoorDash and I made a lot of money.
How much?
I would say I made about like 200 in just doing DoorDash today.
How long did that take?
It was like well, actually no, $80 yesterday, and then it was like $100 and something, $130 today. So overall, it was like 8 hours or so of work.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Bro, didn't what's his name? Didn't AnCap Doggo get banned for like having a conversation about that one time?
Huh?
Or was it? Didn't AnCap Doggo like the reason he didn't want to talk about it because like he got banned for that?
Yeah, he said he doesn't want to talk about it, that subject.
That's probably a wise move, Caps, in general.
Yeah, you know what? From here on out, I'm refusing to talk about that subject.
Bro, honestly, that's bullshit because like we're not saying it's good.
It doesn't matter.
Fuck Discord. Bro, that fucking hold on. Did you see? Wait.
World of Warcraft. I'm obsessed with this game. I've kind of been playing it for a while now. What's going on, Parfit's Poodle?
We've been waiting for you, Parfit's Poodle.
Yes, we've been waiting for you.
Yeah, what's the argument for just like praxeology being the case? Like it doesn't seem to me that like we can just say that your concepts are just like idiosyncratic and already we have like a very soft and rich philosophies towards how we analyze agency, intentions, actions, and, normative reasons and so on.
You don't believe that man acts?
Let's try this again. So I don't understand schmactions, right? When AnCaps talks about actions, it's on some actions. Sorry, let's just add there. When AnCaps talk about some actions, I just don't understand how that's something that I would agree with. I understand what actions are, right? But yeah.
What?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're referring to. I'll be honest. Smactions?
Do you take issue with the action axiom? That is the premise that people can be capable of engaging in deliberate behavior meant to satisfy specific ends?
I take issue with the analysis of what actions are with respect to the AnCaps perspective and their analysis of the terms or phrases. So I take it that like whenever I talk about actions, I'm talking about actions in a way that doesn't already assume or require certain assumptions that would be entailed and what thus would be motivated by the AnCap to endorse. Now we can go over kind of the philosophy of actions and whether or not we have the right analysis and we're not talking past each other. But I suspect we are going to talk past each other because we might be using the same phrase but not the same content.
Sure, what do you mean by action? Or what do you think of as action?
Yeah, so when we talk about actions, we're talking about things that are distinct from reflective behavior, right? And what are the things that are going to be necessary that's going to be true of actions is that they're not causes and effects, rather, right, they're a type of activity, right? That
Purposeful
is done
behavior?
for normative reasons. Nope. This is where we go off the derail, right? But
yeah.
Look, I take actions to be just things, acts, right? Or more specifically, activities that are done for the right reasons.
What do you mean by that?
Right reasons?
Or the right reasons? Like, I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah.
To be honest.
the right reasons. So when we talk about reasons, right, there's going to be a whole literature of the nature of reasons. But just to give you kind of like what reasons are in general, right? Reasons are going to be either classed in 3 types. There's going to be theoretical reasons, right? Reasons pertaining to theories, right? So either partially it could be a theoretical reason for, preferring a theory over another, right? Now, there's another type of reason, which are going to be causal reasons. So, say for example, Jeff going to see Frida on New York, right? Could be a causal reason, right? It might be because, well, look, they're going to New York because they want to see Frida, right? And so it's just explaining kind of like the cause and the effect of some particular agent. Now, there are going to be practical reasons pertaining to either justifications of one's actions. So either you can talk about reasons pertaining to things relative to norms, right? So say, for the same example of like a Jeff trying to meet Freda in New York, it might be in his interest, right, to see Freda, maybe because it might give him pleasure. And so he might have, relative to the prudential norms, right, he might have a reason to see Freda and go to New York, right? Now I take that those are going to be the right reasons, right? The justificatory reasons or practical reasons, whatever you want to cash them out as. Those are the things I'm referring to as reasons.
It sounds like
I know. You guys are kind of stun locked. It's okay. What's up?
Mises.
I was gonna say something, but
Okay, so
Wait, what's up? Go ahead.
Are you making fun of me now?
No.
Okay.
No. Sorry, I was talking to my autistic nephew. What was that? Go ahead.
Okay. So I was merely going to say, basically that I don't think Mises, in his book Human Action, says that when he speaks of purposeful behavior, he doesn't speak of good or bad behavior. He merely speaks of just purposeful behavior in the sense that you choose it, or not non-reflexive behavior.
Oh, that's great. Why does that contend against what my analysis are, and why am I incorrect about my analysis of actions? Go ahead.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, you were making the argument that you believe in good actions versus bad actions, and
that's not what I said. So
I don't think that's what Mises
they never
was
mentioned that before.
arguing.
I think that's going to be an issue, right? So I think either you're misconstruing and strawmanning the view intentionally, or maybe you're not doing so and you're just either just not understanding what the view was, which I find it very dubious because nothing else was not explained. It seems everything was explained. So look, whenever I talk about actions, I take that actions are going to be intentional and non-intentional. Actions could be referred here as, or acts, could be thought of just causes and effects, right? That's one way to look at what acts are, right? But to say an action is intentional, it's just to say that a mental state, it's about something, right? It's a representation of the world, right? Or the aims or about realizing a particular state of affairs. Now, one way we can think about it is that your reasons, right? And you, as a type of organism, can realize states of affairs because of particular types of reasons. And I just explained what practical reasons are. So that would be plausibly one example of what one organism can do when they act, right? So
sounds like a practical reason for us would just like that's what we're talking about when we speak of action in praxeology.
No, this is where you're confused, right? So this is where
Really?
we do some weird conceptual trickery here by the praxeologists, right? They want to use these phrases and concepts that we ordinarily use, right? But then they try to sneak in certain implications with that, right? So I'm just talking about actions when it comes
How are
to
they how are the implications being snuck in? What are you talking about?
Oh, well, because now if
Just
you were
deduction.
to agree, no, because then you're saying, well, not actually, Moxie, we are actually in agreement of what actions are. When you talk about practical reasons, you're just talking about what I mean by actions. But no, sincerely, I don't hold to praxeology, so there must be someone who's confused. Either I'm not talking about the same thing, and thus you're mistaken to say that we're talking about the same thing, and or you're very much equivocating.
So, do you agree
This
or
guy's
disagree
debate broing.
with the notion of
And
action?
now he wants to
that-
call off the debate by saying I'm a debate bro. It's okay. But by the way, KingSithis, you also do the debate bro stuff, so I don't know.
Well, again, all right, whatever. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay when no, it's okay when you do it. I forgot. Sorry.
Okay.
What's the debate bro stuff?
Well, I would generally
just say
define it as opposed to having a conversation and talking to the other person. They're just trying to win the debate, which I'm not. Which I don't try to do.
That's not trying to win a debate. I'm not trying to win a debate. Like there's no debate. Like look, your tag is or your tag name or whatever is talk to an anarcho-capitalist live.
Yeah.
Okay. I am I not talking to you? Am I not talking to Cameron?
You can't communicate in a way.
Okay, bro.
You can't communicate in a way that like Sithis can just.
So yes,
like,
I am talking to
understand.
like an ANCAP, right? Am I wrong? I'm not debating bro.
Maybe you need to just communicate in such a way that you can make yourself understandable to others.
What did Moxie do? He said like one of the most bare bones definitions.
I legit. By the way, it's not complex, bro. You can just look at Stanford Encyclopedia of what actions are, and you just get effectively what I'm saying. So it isn't trickery. It isn't something like that. I'm just
wait, what do they define
reading
actions
verbatim.
as?
Purposeful behavior.
What did purposeful
so the thing here, so I suspect there's going to be two things. I keep in mind a lot of a lot of people who endorse this view might be different, right? So I don't want to generalize too much, but when I talk to people like this, they might say they sneak in something about purposeful behavior, right? They want to say something like that is that there's going to be some teleology
about someone's
organisms.
It's like at the it's at the core of what we're talking about. We're not fucking just sneaking it in. Why are you acting like we're sneaking this through the back door? What are you talking about?
I mean, I get that there's this need to be rude.
I just like what the. Okay.
But I notice that I said.
Notice
that I'm generalizing.
That's what I'm saying. He's not trying to have a conversation. He just wants to debate.
Notice. I'm not debate broing. I just said notice. So I said notice that I'm generalizing based on my experiences who I'm talking to, because I know that there would be people who don't.
Okay, do you fucking know us?
Do you even know who we are?
What we're doing? Can you identify what we're specifically doing?
Now you're just being angry. You're being angry right now. But
you need to focus on the particular conversation at hand. What we're actually doing, right?
Can I not explain my qualms?
Explain the qualms then.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you for interrupting. Okay, sure. I'll explain the qualms here. So I said, look, when I talk to AnCaps or when anyone who brings up praxeology, they talk about purposeful behavior. Now, when we further deconstruct the idea of what it means to be purposeful, right? There is going to be an entailment or a precondition there for their view to work. They have to say that, some account of our human behavior, right, must be true, and so we might endorse essentialism, right? More specifically, biological essentialism, which is that what to be a member of whatever kind, there has to be these sort of properties. They're not accidental. They have to be essential properties, right? True of this case, even though it doesn't actualize. So usually people think about it in terms of intrinsic capacities, right? So an organism can have intrinsic capacity towards goal-orientated behavior, right? And so when people talk about at least purposeful behavior, they're referring to a type of member, right, that does this sort of behavior, right? And thus, that's how they're accounting human natures and human actions, right? Now, I suspect that that's the dubious part, the assumption here about essentialism and goal-orientated behavior. That's sort of the things that I'm kind of having qualms with. But nonetheless, if they were to drop that sort of point down, right, and say, well, no, I'm not really giving analysis of what human behaviors are, just thinking about what it means to act, right, then I'm fine with that. But I suspect that purposeful behavior is sneaking a lot of things and it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting in the conversation. Which, keep in mind, I'm not saying that these people are doing in DVC. I'm just saying kind of like generally from my experiences.
Can I tell you what I mean when I say human action?
No, you said human behavior.
Before you do that, wait, can you tell me what a purposeful behavior is?
Sure. Purposeful behavior is action a person takes to move from a less satisfying state to a more satisfying state according to their own values.
Well, that's not what we asked. We asked what an action was.
No, he asked me what purpose.
No. To be clear,
was.
Yeah, to be clear, I did say, well, I said quite a lot, right? I said we have to get into the conversation, what it means to act, right? And what it means, or what what's the, what are the necessary
Well, I was
conditions
trying to
for
answer your
action and things that are
question.
non-actions. And then, yeah, obviously the things I asked you, which is like, what does it mean to say that something's purposeful behavior? Which is fine.
That's what
means
Mises
Wait,
met
Mach,
in
confused, but is
human
behavior just not
action.
a set pattern of actions? That seems
Oh,
like a
wait, one
category
minute.
error.
So, okay. Wait, what was that, Griff? And then we can
Wait,
hear.
so he's defining actions as behavior. but
Purposeful
isn't
behavior.
Isn't behavior just a set of actions
No.
or a pattern of actions?
Purposeful behavior just again is any action a person takes to move from a less satisfying state to a more satisfying state to their own value according to their own values.
How do you define unintentional actions then?
So that would be
Yeah,
like you know how like if you took a hammer and hit it on your knee and then you kick. Well, that would be
but we get
that
the
would
intuition.
be a reflex.
We get the intuition. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we get the intuition. The idea here is that, like, okay, when someone does something intentional, I agree that's an unintentional one. But the point here is, like, when it's done intentional, what is meant by that? What constitutes something being intentional? Like,
as in they
people might
chose to do it.
Wait, but the chose part is already sneaking in the thing in question, right? Like we're talking about act still, right? Like the acting on certain alternatives, right?
I think what Mox
Well,
was trying to
generally,
ask you is
when
why.
praxeology states is essentially that humans, we generally feel a sense of uneasiness, and we envision some sort of future in which we could alleviate the sense of uneasiness or uplift it, and then we, between multiple options, we choose like what to do. So, for instance, I could choose to, of many options, I could choose to drive my car, smoke a cigarette, hit my vape. But, you chose to, like, let's say I chose to hit my vape. So of those options, I decided that I'd that was my would be purposeful behavior, as in, like, I chose, of those options, I chose the vape because I wanted to satisfy some sort of unmet need.
Okay, there we go. Here's my qualms right now. So, right now, that whole explanation to me stuck out two claims being embedded by that assumption. So,
wait, say that again.
With your explanation of the explanation you gave for Griff, I noticed two things that stuck out to me, and I put it in terms of two claims, right? And which I think that I might have contention. So, it doesn't have to be necessarily psychological egoism, right? But the point here is that if we're talking about why people choose things, right? The psychological egoist has at least something to say on the matter, right? They want to say something like that when we act, right, or at least why we're motivated to do things, is particularly because of at least their self-interest or things that would be frustrating that. Though you explained it in terms of, cases of like uneasiness.
A sense of uneasiness, yeah. So Mises I was going to explain that, but I don't know if you were finished.
No, but it's basically, I'm saying that we can swap it out with self-interest, with uneasiness, and still kind of like the idea still works, right? My only issue here is that psychological egoism is generally either underdetermined, because there will be cases why people act, right? People act because of desires, not necessarily things that are motivating to them, right? There could be desires that are non-motivating to someone, right? Or we may think that for whatever reason, we might think that moral facts or just normative facts in general, motivate or cause people to do actions, right? So you can take the view of rationalism and say, look, given one's agency, right? If to keep the identity of being an agent, you're motivated by reasons to act, right? So there's a lot of work that gets undermined by psychological egoists, and I feel I can apply the same sort of levels of criticisms against your idea of like why people act. And yeah, but yeah, you can explain uneasiness if you want. I doubt that would be relevant in the conversation because the contention is that there's many cases why how people act that isn't
Well,
necessarily about
the
being
sense of
uneasiness.
uneasiness is merely the reason why people act. Why people act is a separate situation, right? So in Austrian economics, the sense of uneasiness is the engine of purposeful behavior. It is the psychological fact that makes necessary actions necessary at all. Mises explains, we act because we feel uneasy. If you felt perfectly satisfied, no hunger, no boredom, no discomfort, no goals unmet, you would not act. You would have no reason to choose, no reason to change anything. So, action begins with these three things. A felt uneasiness, something about your current situation bothers you, so it dissatisfies you,
Uneasiness.
or falls short of what you want. 2, an imagined better state. You picture a future condition that would be preferable to the present one. And then a belief that action can improve your situation. You then think your chosen means can reduce the sense of uneasiness, essentially. And
Okay.
so basically an example of that would be like hunger, uneasiness, food would make this feel better. Therefore, you cook something and you eat it.
Okay, look, one of the things here, again, still close to what I'm thinking of, is these are Humean accounts of kind of why people act, right? More specifically, Humeans wants to explain it in terms of a particular type of attitudes that one agent or an organism, let's call them agent, whatever, right? One agent can do, right? That makes them either act and explains actions, right? So if I just have a desire to phi just represents an action. Well, then I act, right? Or I don't act. And maybe deliberation is explained in terms of just like, when it comes to alternative possibilities, right? When it comes to how I choose the final, when I choose the final end of a deliberation, I think about it in terms maybe like what would be the most things that I would desire, right? So you think about actions and break them based on how much you want to bring about that world, right? And effectively, that's a way to think of an action, right? In the process.
Ordinal
of how it
ranking
acts,
of preferences.
Yeah. So the issue here is that it seems monistic, right? For how we kind of cash out actions and agencies and decision procedures, right? It seems that you can think of actions, right, that don't involve desires, wants, preferences, or motivations. Yet it's still a meaningful account of acting, right? That people can still plausibly think that the agent acted, right? So the account is a Kantian view of actions and agencies. So you can say, look, when an organism or an agent acts, he's acting for a reason. Maybe in this case, it might be a reason to, follow chess rules, right? So there could be a rule that indicates that you should move the knight in this specific action, in this specific way. And so if you're a rational agent, right, necessarily it's the case that you will
Excuse me.
act on reasons. And so if there's a reason, a chess reason, well then then the person moves the right way with respect to the rules of chess, well then he acted, right? And I take that has no bearing in reference to desires, wants, and preferences, and especially no ranking of preferability. And still he acted. And so I think that should be at least a reductio on the position that Humeans usually want to give. As it could be the case that like maybe it's not an end or a final end or an instrumental end, and it's certainly not a preference or desires or a motivation, and yet still thinking that like in virtue of your nature as a rational agent, you act insofar as you have a chess reason. But yeah, that's about it. I think I said a lot, but just
I'll be honest, I didn't really
views.
understand a lot of that, but I'll tell you this: if you want to understand more of the praxeological view on economics, I would probably recommend reading.
I know Iran lexicon.
No, not Rand.
Oh,
Rand did not create praxeology.
No, that's what I'm saying. But no, I'm
Uh,
not saying that. I'm saying like to learn more about it. You know, there's resources like Iran lexicon.
I mean, Rand is good, but if you want to talk about praxeology in specifically, right? Ludwig von Mises's book, Human Action, that will explain praxeology to you. Okay, that is the praxeology book. He's the one who well, I don't know if he invented it, but he was the one that really. He was the one that.
did.
Well, did he invent taxation? Did he invent praxeology?
Are you
Did
talking
Mises
about?
invent praxeology?
Yeah.
Mises did not invent praxeology. He simply coined the term. I
Well,
think he
You
coined
know
the
what
term.
I mean.
I'm
You know
actually
what
not
I
sure
mean.
if coined
He
the
was the
term.
one that put a word to.
Don't worry.
Are you familiar with
Doubtlessly.
Are you familiar with Alan
Doubtlessly.
Gerwith?
Not really.
Oh.
Oh, bad.
Who's that?
What? Sorry, that's how someone said
I
something.
don't know.
Oh, bad. Look, I take it that that's a father figure that you guys need to read on. So basically, most of the things that you guys take for granted, or at least, it seems that maybe you guys are referencing, or at least, what's the right word? It's sort of where I'm kind of getting the idea of like how this might connect to you guys' views. Is this guy, Alan Gerwith. Effectively, his views is that he came up with a universal human rights that can be rationally justified as the outcome of like necessarily made by rational agents. And so all he wants to say is that all agents necessarily want to be successful in their actions. And since freedom and well-being are generally necessary conditions of successful agency, every agent must claim rights to freedom and well-being. And it's just justifying reasons for a agent's rights claims is that the very fact that she is an agent with purpose that she wants to realize, she must also accept the universalized claim that all agents have rights to freedom and well-being. And so I take it that's something that you guys would obviously care for.
You should check out Hoppe. Hoppe was the one that made argumentation ethics.
Oh, he's really confused. Let's just say one thing. So
Doesn't
one
Ian
is
run
that
this argument?
what's up?
Doesn't Ian run this argument? I
Ian,
forget.
like the TikToker?
Yeah.
No. Basically, no. Ian is just mainly talking about constructivism. Though a lot of these positions that we're talking about, Kant is just kind of like the forefather of like all these views, or at least people are influenced like by Kant. Maybe they're not neo-Kantians, but they're generally getting their ideas from. Well, to be clear, it's more of like Aristotle and influenced Kant. Influenced Kant, and then Kant influenced other people in the literature.
I just know his argument's really
up.
similar to the argument that he gave. So.
Oh, if you're talking to the debate that he was having for the DS or something, yeah.
So what's this have to do with ANCAP?
Well, one, I take it that when it comes to being an ANCAP, there has to be several commitments being made in order for the view to work. Which is you have to believe at least a view of rights. Though, if you hold the view that rights aren't that necessary to making normative judgments, and
I thought we all believed in rights, don't we?
Again, depends on what rights you're talking about. If you're talking about like positive law, maybe sure. But if you're talking about natural law, that's where I get suspicious. I think that we can undermine natural law by just being an empiricist, presumably, right? People who want to run natural law theory has to make commitments to their epistemology, because to know the function or the purpose of something, or specifically
Hey man, thanks for playing with me, man. It was fun.
By the way, okay, to know the functions or the purpose of the moral good, you must know kind of what the purpose and functions of a thing is first. And people want to say that that's you know that thing through reason, or in this case, something that's prior to experiences. That's one thing you can say. You can undermine the view by just rejecting rationalism altogether as an epistemology. Secondly, you have to make commitments to the idea of essential properties. and that's kind of dubious, right? And if you're not holding to divine law, right, and you're just a typical atheist, then yeah, you probably need to defend some form of essentialism. And so there's qualms with those views as well. So like running the argument requires making these assumptions, and I think people can just challenge you on those, and then you're kind of getting fucked on the conversation. You don't defend it. Or, you can be someone like Twav and give you the dog reductio and you can just bite the bullet. But I mean, look, that's fine. KingSithis, you can just bite bullets as well.
Wait, you know me? Have we talked before?
No.
No, I have not talked to you before.
Oh,
No,
I
he
know
said a name.
Twav.
I know Twav too. And I know the debate you had with Senth when you with the bullet about the dog reductio.
Oh, yeah, I
Wait.
remember that. I totally won that debate.
I don't think you did, but
This guy debates?
We're having a talk
Kurt,
about gun control.
What type of question is that? What type of question is that? Well, I wonder what King is doing. Is he not debating? What?
Yeah, I debate people. I'm doing that right now. Well, I'm more chat.
Literally right now, bro.
But yeah, I totally won that debate.
I have to rewatch the debate on how the debate.
No, because I
ended
think
and how it started.
one fundamentally, like, the main reason why I think I won, obviously I'm biased, so I'll give you that, but
Yeah, that's right.
but I would say the reason why I think I won was because they agreed, because the guys kind of agreed with me. Like, my main argument was, like, there are ways in which we can reduce gun crime without banning guns outright. We don't need to ban guns outright in order to get rid of gun crime. And then I brought up, like, legalizing drugs, legalizing prostitution, legalizing things like that.
Jesus.
And they agreed with me. They said that, yeah.
Well, yeah, they're left leaning.
Yeah, so
left
left
winger. What?
Well, yeah. So he's like, yeah, I do agree that legalizing drugs would reduce crime, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Da 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 da. And I was just like, yeah, and I was like, and then he was through the whole beginning. He had was listing off all of these statistics, and with one statistic, which was the statistic, which was, well, that 90% of the gun crime happens from gangs, right? Yeah. Well, you do realize the main reason why they're shooting at each other is to protect, illegal contraband like drugs and prostitution and sex work and things like that, right? Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we should just legalize prostitution and drugs, right? Well,
I'm
no.
dubious. Well, I'm dubious with this, right? So, like, for me, funny thing that we can even do, like, natural law theory right now. Like, presumably the purpose of SMECS is towards the proper end of reproduction, right? And so, if you're just doing casual SMECS, you're obviously frustrating that proper end. And
it's your body.
Perverse faculty argument. No.
Well, it's your body.
This is where the Thomist, says, well, not because look, it could be the case that it could be your body, and you guys can, agree, and sort of speaking, like, anything kind of goes, right? If you guys consent, but say that we say that you're talking to ethicists, and ethicists, came to this sort of revelation that monkeys are agents, and thus are able to consent. And a lot of ethicists, some of them, not a lot of, sorry, maybe it's bad faith. Okay, only some that I sort of know. If you were to type out, think that some non-human animals are agents. Now, under this view, if we hold to a consent-based views of SMECS, sorry, it's the case that, look, if you view it here that SMECS is permissible if both agents consent, regardless of whether the act.
Why are you saying SMECS?
Why are you saying SMECS? Why are you saying SMECS? Why are you saying SMECS?
Come on, why are you making fun of my boy Cameron here, bro? That's my boy, bro.
Well, because he should understand the reason for why we're self-censoring here.
What game are you playing?
Regardless whether you're on YouTube. Regardless whether you're on
World of
YouTube or
Warcraft.
something.
I don't care if you could say sex. I mean, you could say sex on YouTube.
Sex is not a
I
bad
want to
word.
learn
No,
not to say the word because I want to.
What is a bad word is
Well, it's not a it's not a bad word.
Okay.
It's more like a bad word with respect towards like if you want to be platforms on TikTok or something, right? And so
You want TikTok right now? You live?
anarcho-capitalism. That's a bad word.
no,
I'll tell you.
I'm saying I
mean-
want to learn not to say the word.
You
No, we're
self-censor
saying the
yourself so
opposite.
much
We're
you
upset that
talk.
he is censoring
That's
himself.
fine.
We're like, why are you censoring? Anyways, that don't matter.
He's training. Okay. Go on.
I
So
am
Sithis,
trained,
you were
of course.
getting shit on by Jerkman earlier, and then you muted him. Is that what was going on?
No, because he was being a dickhead.
Okay, but that's a guy that actually knows economics, right? Like, you know that, right?
Yeah, I do though. I know that.
Okay. Like he probably has read more about Austrian econ than you have. You should like listen to him. You know, he can.
I respect him, but I did not respect the way that he wanted to move that conversation. He wasn't being very respectful towards me in the conversation, and I didn't like that.
I heard you were defending CP. That's what I heard.
What?
I was merely stating that. Okay, so I'll tell you what I said.
You're
and
saying CP doesn't break the NAP. That's what you were saying.
essentially, yeah. And then he was basically going around saying that I think that
Dude,
I
that's
think that's a
insane.
good
That's
thing.
insane.
Oh, I think it's a good
You-
thing, or
do you
I
think
think that I
that you-
support it. And I never said that I support it. I'm merely saying that it doesn't initiate force. And there's obviously a difference between that. But then he kept saying that over and over again. And I was like, bro, you're just like, if you want to have a conversation
Oh
with
my
me
God.
about it, we can have a good faith discussion about it. But I'm not gonna like have somebody be rude to me like that towards me.
Yeah,
so.
I kind of do see your point on that. Like, not the comment about that, but I'm
On
saying
C-
like,
on CP.
no, wait,
Okay.
this guy, calm down, wait, hush your mouth.
Do I need to
Look,
like?
I think
Karl Marx like. I don't want to do it. I
No,
like.
no,
I
no,
don't.
no,
I don't want to
let's
like
just-
have to cut you off too
Look,
if you're gonna be
no,
rude.
no, let's just say this. Look, I think that it's like it's kind of like when people give like anti-utilitarian arguments against someone's position. It's like,
Yes.
it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, sure. I mean, it is crazy. It's a crazy
Don't you think
lullaby,
if-
but like, but to say that, but to call the guy who holds the position that, it just seems kind of like a bad, like, obviously.
Yes,
speaking, like, I
exactly.
think-
You're essentially saying that like consumption of child pornography doesn't violate consent. Don't you think that's defending
How
child
does
pornography?
how does it though?
How does it though?
Okay, so
Well-
again, that's
Well,
you. Tim,
okay,
this is
okay,
just
okay.
my
Let's
video,
go.
right?
Okay,
Devil's
okay,
advocate
guys,
here.
I would really love
guys,
to know
guys.
One could
He wants to bring it up. I
one
would
could
love to
make
know the
the
argument.
case.
Here.
One
I
could make
understand
the
the notion
case
of
that
consent.
buying
Here, I can
from a
explain.
producer,
Wait, one at a time. One
if
at a
you're
time.
paying money for it, if you are paying money for it, that could be seen as tantamount to hiring a hitman, where you're not committing the aggression yourself, but you're hiring somebody else to. Likewise, if I pay you for CP you're producing, one could make the argument that I am, I'm like hiring a CP producer here. By the
Or
way,
a
my
hitman.
I mean, it's not even about like
my
buying
kid
it.
is in
It's
the
just about
room.
possession.
Fundamentally, you could think that something is wrong, right? You could think that something is
How you
disgusting,
doing, buddy?
while also acknowledging that
What up?
something does not initiate an aggression against another person and therefore would not be illegal under libertarian law. So,
Okay, so do you understand? You're saying that consumption of child pornography would not be restricted under your conception of libertarian law.
the consumption? No.
Correct.
The creation?
that you can
The
So,
creation?
So,
Wait,
here-
wait.
let
But
me
the
explain
creation
this. Let me
would be.
explain it real
The
quick. Let me
creation
break
would
it
be.
down for you.
The creation
Wait,
of
but
it
let me
would
break
be.
it down. Right, but let me break it down.
Mhm.
So commodities, right, might appear as if they are bearers of value independent of the production process, but their social relations between, the workers, the institutions, etc., that cannot be divorced from the actual consumption of the commodity. So pornography as a commodity isn't just some kind of sexual imagery, right? There's the producers, the performers, the directors, editors, the means of production, the relations of production, the contracts between these people, debt, gendered power, etc., and the consumers that are viewers purchasing access to subscriptions and data extraction through all these things. They are enabling the production process of this very material. I mean, this is at least a simple neoclassical understanding. If there's not demand for something, right? If there's no, then the production doesn't take place. You would agree?
Of course, but
Okay.
the issue isn't.
So
Oh,
that's
did you? I was going to
breaking the
respond to that, but
non-aggression.
I don't.
Okay.
But here's the issue, right? I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with what you're saying necessarily to a point, right? But we're not talking about whether or not allowing a certain behavior increases that behavior from being done. So, for instance, some people will make the argument that we should not allow people to be prostitutes because in allowing people to be prostitute, that then increases the likelihood of people being trafficked. But I'm saying, but my argument to that is the act of having sex with a prostitute is not an aggression if both parties are consenting and both are adults. The act of watching illicit material that has graphic, messed up, fucked up things on it is not an initiation of force.
Someone's mad.
Hey, can we I have an idea here because it's the same logic but without the rage baiting. Can we just have let's talk about the context of snuff films rather than the other thing.
Yeah.
Because it's the same basic logic.
I don't know what that is. Hold on. I don't know what snuff films are. But let me do this real quick.
What's up, Connor?
Snuff films are like videos of snuff films are like
Wait, can you not interrupt, please?
Fuck, shut up.
Yeah, wait, Liam,
okay,
let's get out of here.
Okay, hold on.
Somebody is about to catch a mute. Snuff films are like videos of real murders and shit, like a cartel beheading video, or an ISIS beheading video, or a cartel shooting video, or something. Yeah, like there are murderers who get a kick out of like broadcasting their murders, and they'll put it online. Sometimes you can view it for free. Sometimes you have to pay for it. Right, so I think that all of the same logic that applies to the earlier subject would equally apply to snuff films. So let's just keep it within that context, so as to not rage bait and trap people, and
Let's try to keep it YouTube friendly.
I don't know what that has to do with rage baiting or anything like that, but
libertarians have some unconventional views on that other subject, just as we do on snuff films, by the way. But
I've heard your views on age of consent, right? I've heard them. Yeah, they're weird.
That's actually totally unrelated to this. But
child sexual assault abuse. Okay, so hold on. Let me actually just propose this, because the analogy that was given was the production of like adults in pornography, and saying like, oh, well, it's not coercive for people to act in these things because they're part of. But what I'm saying instead is that the very consumption of the material enables production, and if the production is non-consensual, then the consumption follows to be recreating the non-consensual social relations in the given society. Which, if that doesn't violate consent, I don't know what does. That's what I'm pointing out. So the analogy you gave was adults, right?
Could I ask a question? Would a snuff, let's say a video of somebody shooting a 10-year-old, do you think it should be illegal for someone to watch that? Like, let's say that's on the internet, and then I click on it and I see somebody like shooting a 10-year-old or somebody like that,
How is that analogous?
Well, it's analogous because what you're doing is you're committing some sort of torture or inflicting some sort of harm or death. I mean, death is quite literally the worst thing that you could do to a person, right?
That's not true at all. Okay, so I don't grant any of these assumptions. But hold on, this is
not
crazy.
Analogous?
Did
you explain that?
Because child pornography being produced doesn't require.
Didn't CP draw the analogy for you?
Hold on.
Just say CP, please.
Okay. What? Okay, sure. Anyways, so CP doesn't even require like an adult interacting with a child sexually to be CP. If there was like, photos of a 5-year-old reproduced online, and of course there's the purpose of production for consumption, which furthers the necessity of abuse. If somebody was going around creating content with the intent of just like showing that they consistently murder people, and this content was gaining them revenue or something like that, then yeah, I would say the consumption of said content would be very harmful.
What about like the
okay?
knockout game? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but like, so you know the knockout game is?
Yeah. No one's
So
getting. No one's getting. Yeah, it's all good.
No, I don't.
What kind of revenue?
No, I'm
Okay,
just
yeah.
saying. I'm just saying. Like, it's hypothetical. It's a hypothetical. I don't know if this is actually
I hate
true.
the hypotheticals because.
But what I'm saying
but
is, let's say hypothetically. Wait, let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay.
So let's say hypothetically, I'm going around punching teenagers in the face. Obviously, that act should be illegal. But there's another person that went on my TikTok and was just scrolling through it and was watching those videos of me punching teenagers in the face. Wouldn't me watching that incentivize the creation of that good? Because I'm kind of like, feeding into that person's revenue.
Okay, are you creating demand, or like?
How do you?
You're fulfilling some demand with the production of.
Well, the person who's making the
material or
video
something
is
like that?
the person who's making the video is.
Cool. Does this like further increase accessibility and recreation of harmful acts on people?
Well,
That's the
yeah,
question.
it could because if that person gets paid, they're gonna make more videos, and if you watch those videos, that it contributes to them getting paid, which will then incentivize them to make more. So yes.
How are you getting? Okay, who's making money from this? You're just saying in a hypothetical where people are getting revenue of like reproducing.
Well, you don't
this
think people
material,
get paid for snuff
there's-
films? You don't think people get paid for making videos of people themselves harming other people?
I don't know. I literally don't. Is there a
Yes,
website
that's
to
a
do
thing.
this
That's
or
a thing
something?
on the dark web. Yes, that is a thing.
Yeah, well then obviously consumption of that would be terrible. Yes,
It would be
that
terrible, but should
that
it be
would-
illegal?
Yeah, that would break consent, the notion of consent.
So if
absolutely,
I
yes.
watched a video of a person
would it break
punching a
consent?
teenager, I'm violating whose consent?
You're violating did this person consent to being punched in the face?
No.
Okay, does the
You weren't involved
But is that relevant?
profitability
action,
of this hold on, does the profitability of this video being produced further reinforce its
Yes.
reproduction?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so that follows.
So then but you didn't answer the question. The question was whose consent did I violate?
The person getting punched.
Yeah, but you didn't punch him.
That doesn't matter.
It does
are-
matter.
Why would
No,
that
you're
not matter?
creating an
You didn't do
incentive.
anything. You weren't even
In the
there.
same way, if I pay someone $100 to punch someone in the face, okay?
No, wait,
Am
no,
I-
that's
am I
not the
violating their
hypothetical.
consent?
That's not the hypothetical.
It's exactly the same.
No,
Well, that's not
because
the
you're
same.
you're not paying the person to punch
It
somebody.
is the hypothetical. You just need to listen.
I think you need to listen, Fred.
No, you're not paying someone to punch somebody. You're watching somebody else punch somebody.
That's not his point. His point is that if in order for the content to be produced, you must violate consent. Therefore, it is not ethical.
I agree.
Right? Even
I
though-
agree with that part.
Even though you purchasing the film and consuming it is not violating anyone's consent, the production of that.
Did you watch? Did you see the
requires-
video of Charlie Kirk getting shot? I'm just wondering.
No, I haven't.
Do you know anyone that has?
I'm pretty sure I do.
Should they get in trouble? Should they go? What should be done to them?
I don't know.
But I mean,
I'd say,
you were arguing.
I
Are you
don't
not
know.
arguing that those people have committed some error by watching that video? Like, wouldn't you agree?
No,
or
I'm not. I was just explaining the other person's point. I'm not participating in this debate.
I know.
Because I don't
I'm,
use
and I'm
the
just
word-
explaining my point. I know. I'm
Oh.
merely
So I just
explaining
want to
mine.
get down to like this idea that like consuming this product like that in the examples we're talking about videos of he left though.
I think he had to go somewhere probably because he went.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Then
I was just gonna
rebuttal.
say I don't
Go ahead.
see how he ever made it clear exactly how it's the case, and I don't think he could do this. How it's the case that merely consuming some video, for example, of like an aggression, is itself violating anyone's consent. I didn't like just because you're buying the product, or not even buying. We're not even talking about buying it. We're just talking about we're we're just talking about, like, in the case you're talking about, Sithis, like scrolling through some account watching these videos, right?
Yeah.
So you're not engaged in an exchange, right? That one could argue, oh, like in some sense you're responsible. Like I don't think you're responsible in any sense.
Yeah, because
So
like if you watch
couldn't
somebody else's
possibly be
YouTube
at
channel,
fault.
you know,
Beautifully put.
and I mean, if you watch somebody else's YouTube channel and you happen to watch their ad and they get money from that, I would not say that you're responsible, or you're responsible for what they did in that video. If that that would not make sense to me.
Wait, so you're saying that if you're not financially incentivizing them to make these videos, but they
Well,
are.
I mean, even if you were, it wouldn't make a difference.
Okay, so
I mean,
in
unless
your
you're
mind-
directly paying them to do it.
So you're in your mind, it should be like the Hunger Games should be legal, right? Like people can like watch the Hunger Games and like, people kill each other.
Producing it would be
What
illegal.
happens in the-
Producing it would
Wait
be
a minute,
illegal.
In the Hunger Games, it wasn't voluntary.
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to do some kind of, no, it's not voluntary. They
Yeah,
make children fight
they
each
made
other to
them.
the death who don't agree to it,
Sorry.
and they'll shoot your family if you won't do it. Like,
Sorry, I mean the Squid Games. I meant the Squid Games.
Oh, Squid Games?
Yeah.
Squid Games is not consensual. So with Squid Games, it's true that you unknowingly opt into the games, not knowing the nature of what they are. They give you the opportunity. They do give you the opportunity to democratically leave the games, but if everyone else doesn't vote, or if a majority of others don't vote to stop the games, you're fucking dead. You're gonna die.
Yeah, that is true.
All but one of 456 of you are going to die. So Squid Games are absolutely not NAP compliant. Now, you could make a case that, like, you could have some kind of modern gladiator fighting where, like, imagine you've got, like, the NFL and the MLB. Well, imagine just, like, a pro spectator sport where, professional gladiators who are paid handsome sums of money and, like, they train for years because they want to be gladiators, that they fight each other to the death, and it's televised. I think that would be perfectly ethical. But the Hunger Games and Squid Games were not like that because it's not consensual.
I disagree, because I remember hearing about where like people, like millionaires, would go to like Gaza or something, and they just like shoot down people, right? I mean, this is like a consensual.
That's horrible.
Well, it's not consensual on behalf of the people who are getting shot, right?
Well, war, right? So it's like you're in war against these people, right? So like,
well, I mean, that doesn't make it okay. That doesn't make it okay.
Did you just say they're already? Did you just say they're already poor?
No, they're already at war. So you're already.
What does that doesn't
make it okay.
All right, that was a bad point. That was a bad point.
A person at war does not have some kind of different rights status than somebody. First of all, the average civilians there have nothing to do with the war, and some are unfortunately murdered in the process of the war, both by the IDF and by Hamas.
There's no rules in war. I'm just kidding.
I personally think it's just bad to incentivize I don't know, bad behavior in society. Like I feel like
incentivize how exactly? Like
financially, right? Like if you're
giving money,
you're violating
or
someone's
somehow
respect
generating
because of
revenue for someone.
Yeah. So like I fundamentally oppose the idea that like people should be able to like make money through like let's say if I make like a YouTube channel where I like steal money from people, right? Actually, I might actually support that because I support theft. But okay, let's do murder, right?
You support theft?
People, right?
No.
What? Oh yeah, I love theft. I think it's the great equalizer.
Evil thing.
Anyways, so like there's a person who goes around killing people, right? And they post their YouTube videos online, right? I don't think it's they should be financially incentivized in any shape or form through the production of this medium.
Okay.
Like, isn't that what you would argue, that like they should be financially incentivized? because the
Not
products
making
are
a normative claim in that regard.
Wait, say that again. I wasn't listening. Sorry, what?
Let's say I go around. I have kill 100 people challenge, right? And I post my YouTube videos, right? And the YouTube videos, people watch them. I get more money through donations or just through AdSense. And then I use that money to kill more people, right? Like, I do not think this should be legal.
The only aggression I would say is involved there is.
Well, I
you,
mean, the
like,
aggression. I
murdering
mean, you're
people, I
killing
guess.
people. That is an aggression, obviously, right? The video. I mean, watching the video wouldn't be an aggression because I mean, you're just watching somebody kill somebody. But
you're financing the future aggression.
Yeah, but you're not paying the person to kill somebody. You're just watching somebody, and as a byproduct of that, that person gets paid.
Well, then if you're saying that like you are not responsible for like the byproducts of what you do, so like the secondary effects, then someone can just be like, well then you can just obfuscate all responsibility by making everything a byproduct of what you're doing, right? I could say, oh, I didn't kill the person. I just put like poisonous food in their house, right? And it was up to them to like.
Well, that could be an aggression. That could be an aggression, right?
Yeah, but it's a secondary effect, right? I didn't kill the person. I just put a shit ton of poisonous food in their house, right?
Well, that is killing a person.
Okay, well then,
like you're the cause of it.
Then you're.
I just sent a bunch of bullets into the air. I didn't kill him.
No, there's like a I think there's a bit of a difference between that and the other thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, there isn't. Like
The difference?
There's no difference because
what is the difference?
when you say the secondary effect and what is a primary effect are the same thing, like there's no way of differentiating these things. So like well, I can understand your like intuitive differentiation. Like there is no way of defining this differentiation.
Well, the differentiation is that one is quite literally they're literally putting something into your food that is directly killing you, whereas the other one, it's not quite the same.
Oh, how is it not?
Like, I don't think you're the cause of the if you were watching videos of like the kill 100 people challenge.
Yeah.
You could say that's financially incentivizing the person making it, but I don't think that means you are the cause of these people's deaths. I think the person making the video is. So I think that's the difference.
If they're able to buy
between putting the poison in someone's like food, because
you're they're able to buy weapons and tools in order to help kill people based off of the financial revenue they are making from those videos. Do you think you're responsible?
I don't think
but you're not
for
really
what they
giving
do.
them the money. It's just you watched a video and the company that is hosting the website gave them money.
I'm sorry. To me, this is the same thing. I don't think so. I see no difference between a person who gives the money to someone else to then pay you and a person who just pays you directly. You know who is going to get paid. When you watch the video,
who's doing the pain?
Money.
Who's doing the pain?
So okay, so in your
I don't think it's the people like on YouTube.
Wait. So your argument is if I pay a friend to then pay that person to kill more people, this is a secondary effect.
I don't know that that's analogous to what we're even talking about.
Okay, then explain how it's different from giving money to YouTube. Sorry, having YouTube use your attention, convert that into money, and then pay that person.
Yeah, because you're not actually like in that case, you're not even actually paying anyone as a mere consumer of like YouTube as an app. Like you're not actually paying anyone.
You're providing a service to YouTube, which is giving them your attention, and then they use that service to create money by hosting advertisements, and then they pay the person, right? How is that different from you just paying a friend?
Because you're not the one actually paying them. Because you're not the one doing. You have nothing to do with the actual exchange at hand.
The transaction. You're not transacting with anyone as the consumer of YouTube.
Yeah, you have nothing to do with that.
Give the money to the murderer. You know full well the YouTube will give money to the murderer. So how is it any different than giving it to the friend who also?
So you're saying that that YouTube is somehow.
Yes, you're watching his video. You're watching his video.
That?
Obviously, the money's going to him.
Okay, are you doing the transacting again? I have to ask that. Yeah, you're
yes,
not,
you're
right?
providing your attention.
Where's the hold on? What transaction is the consumer doing with anyone else in this?
You're providing the service of providing your attention to the company. You know that we are the
And
product. We are not the.
that's not an
we are not
actual
the-
transaction. I'm arguing.
Okay,
You
so
know
if
what I
I
mean when
provide
I
a
say
service,
like an exchange
if I
of
provide,
things?
yeah, you're literally get. They provide you
You're
content,
not in
and
any
in
sort of
exchange you
contract
give your
relationship.
what?
You're not. I
Did you
would
say?
argue you're not even in. You're not like in a contract with
Okay,
YouTube.
you know what? Like if you don't want to like engage with my point, that's fine. We can.
I
Move
am.
on.
How am I not engaging with the point?
I think you know exactly what I'm saying, and I think you are just trying to like hide
You
your
a mind
like
reader?
responsibility. Well, no, I'm just giving you my intuitive guess.
Okay, I think your intuition's wrong. Anyway,
Okay.
I don't think you're actually addressing what I'm saying, to be honest. But okay.
Okay, how am I not addressing what you're saying?
Yeah, because when I'm making the point about how it's not a transaction between like the consumer, and anyone else, like maybe YouTube or the YouTuber themselves, you just seem to be like ignoring that fact.
Okay.
Like you're just not.
Yeah, I'm
addressing
ignoring it because it's a meaningless distinction for me.
It's
right?
not.
If
It's
a
actually
mall,
very important.
wait, let me explain why it's a meaningless distinction for me. So let's say we have two societies, right? We have one society where I pay you to clean my house, right? This is a transaction, right? There's money being passed. There's another society where I don't pay the person and they clean my house, right? Well, this could be your mom, for example, right? They just do the labor for free, right? And there's no transaction, right? So
Okay.
in these two situations, has the result changed at all, right? In the first example, you've paid the person with money, right? And with the mother example, you're providing care, right? It's like you care, your mom's done this for you, so you feel gratitude towards them, right?
Okay.
The output is the same. However, what is different is what you're providing to that person, right? So each one of them can be an incentive for doing the action. So it doesn't matter to me whether there's a coin being passed or not.
I would say you'd need to actually. Wait, let me think about that. So it was like in one case you're paying someone to clean your house, in the other it's your mother doing it, like, and you're not paying her, right?
Yep.
You don't think there's a difference between like scenarios?
I think in both scenarios you are incentivizing a behavior.
So you don't think like the fact that in the transaction scenario, the fact that you're taking this like action, like you're saying, if you do this for me, then I'll give you this. Where like you don't think that that's different from like what is it supposed to be, like you're living with your mother?
Okay,
Like what
sorry.
exactly are you
Let me-
doing
let
for
me-
your
let
mother
me
when
make
you're not
the-
paying her?
Let me make the analogy better, right?
Okay.
So the first person, you pay them to do the sweeping. And then the second person, you're like, hey, you sweep my house and later I'll sweep your house.
I think that's still basically like you're transacting services.
Yes, but one of them doesn't have currency.
Okay, and?
So that's what you're doing with YouTube, right? You're providing the service of your attention, and they are providing you the service of entertainment.
That's not contractual.
Right? When I'm saying when I'm
You know what I mean when I say that's not contractual?
When I'm with my roommate and I'll say I'll clean the house today and you'll clean the house on Friday, like this is not a contractual obligation. This is understood just intuitively.
Sure. Well,
oh, someone's giving me shit?
It depends.
It's the same, dude.
It depends.
It's just
It depends whether it's contractual.
You don't need to debate me. We can just move on.
Wait, what?
We can just move on. We don't need to debate this.
Okay, I mean, this is kind of like the core. I guess my core point is like when you're talking about like you're financially incentivizing like YouTube, for example, or the person making the videos by like giving your attention to videos on YouTube by using the app, the service. I'm just saying there's no transaction occurring there on your end.
Yeah, you're correct. There is no financial transaction between you and YouTube. However, you're still providing a service to YouTube, and YouTube is using that service to then pay the person to do those actions.
But I would argue you're not like entering into any sort of contract there, so it's not like. How do I explain this?
Are you providing a service to YouTube or not?
I guess it depends on what you mean by service. Like, do you mean like?
Are you paying to consume content,
No.
or are you the one
No,
who's
right?
being?
I don't think you are.
Okay, so YouTube is being paid to provide you content, right? So you're providing service to YouTube because they need your attention for advertisers. You understand?
I would say you're not
You provide
responsible for what YouTube does as a result of you using their app, really.
Okay, so you're okay.
Or
so
their
you're basically
advertisers
saying,
that pay them or anything.
I know full well that YouTube will take the money that it makes from providing.
Wait, isn't the person responsible, the people who run YouTube? Isn't that your fault that, like, you know, like if you scroll through YouTube and you see some like gruesome stuff, I'm like, it's not your fault that that YouTuber got paid for you watching that, right?
Oh, I'm saying, like, if you intentionally click the video. If you're see it by accident, no, obviously it's YouTube.
So what if you intentionally clicked it?
I mean, like, should it be illegal to watch
Then you
gore
have intention.
movies then?
The results of that
Intention to do what exactly?
Maybe you just thought it was an interesting video.
So does this amount to, like, are you saying? Hold on, I don't know, like, what like wrong do you think the consumer is like committing? Like, do you believe in rights? I just need to clarify.
Listen.
Because I need to know, like, do you think this person is violating anyone's rights, or do you hold some different?
Yes, you are. Because you're literally watching someone who's creating content that is dependent on violating other people's rights.
Yeah, but
So
I would say they're responsible in this case for doing that. Like, I'm not telling them to. That would, if you're I could see the argument being made maybe that, like, if you are like transacting or something and then this is happening, then
I hate you so much.
Then you could be said to be responsible. Do you not understand?
No, that doesn't make you responsible. No, that doesn't make you responsible. No.
It matters whether it's contractual.
No, it doesn't matter. You confine your own brain. You limit your own thinking for no reason. Yes, you are.
I'm not.
How do you not understand that there's no difference between someone who pays someone to speak and someone who just offers the service?
Why are you freaking out, bro? It's not that big a deal.
Because you need to actually essentially like give the order by contracting.
He refuses to use his brain.
I am using my brain.
I think what he's saying makes sense.
You're limiting your thinking. This is the reason why you're an anarcho-capitalist.
I've expanded my thinking.
You don't understand the difference between social interaction and transaction.
I don't think you understand.
Social interactions. It's just the way you're incentivizing it is different.
It seems like you're not the one. You're the one that doesn't understand it because you didn't seem like you knew what you were talking about a second.
What? Someone's voice cadence is giving me, like, was it Speedy Gonzalez?
He's trying to say. So he's trying to say that if you watch a YouTube video that entails a person getting their rights violated, like, I don't know, for instance, like someone getting punched in the face or something like that, and that person gets ad revenue, that you're responsible for that guy getting ad revenue. Whereas we're saying,
not even what I'm saying.
It's not what you're saying. Okay, then how about you say that?
That's not the
what are you saying?
And what are you? I feel like that was what you were saying.
That's literally what you have. You not been arguing.
You're right. That is what I'm saying, but that is not the core of my disagreement.
Wait, it was what you said. It was.
You said I'm not saying that, and then you said I am saying that. Are you crazy?
Oh wait, so was it what you said? Was I taking you out of context?
No, you quoted me perfectly, but that was not the core of our disagreement. That's not why I was tweaking out, all right?
Okay.
That's not why I was
raging. What is
raging,
the core of the disagreement?
So what was the problem?
The reason why I was raging is that Carmen seems to not understand the fundamental difference.
Carmen?
That there is no, I don't know the fuck your
Cameron,
name is.
Cameron.
Okay. That's crazy. Have you never seen the name Cameron?
Cameron, bro, whatever. You don't seem to understand that there is no difference between someone who does barter trade and someone who uses a financial interaction. This distinction in both ways. You're
Is there a barter trade in the case of YouTube, the consumer using the app of YouTube? Is that like a barter trade on their behalf?
Yeah, you're providing your attention, right? You're providing your attention, and then
I would say for it to be a trade, it has to be contractual.
Understand? Huh?
And it's not contractual, therefore it's not a trade.
So if I give you a pencil for your eraser, there's no contract, and therefore it's not a trade.
I mean, I could argue that's contractual. You're exchanging property.
Okay,
Yeah, that is
I
a
would argue
contract.
that if there is no contract, if
Yeah, but
YouTube
you're,
has
It doesn't have to be a
that's a
link
direct
contract. It can be like
exchange.
a-
That's a
It
direct
could be like an oral
exchange.
contract. We could
yeah,
argue.
you know, when you click on the video, you're providing your attention, and YouTube
Yeah,
will
but that's not
provide
a
you
direct
but there's no-
exchange. That's not a direct
There's
What do you
like.
no
mean direct
exchange of
Attention-
anything there.
Attention is not consideration. A contract requires mutual, or at least an enforceable contract requires mutual consideration. Consideration is something that is owned, that is being or able to be provided. It's being provided by one toward another. I guess you could make the case that I will view you in exchange for this, but
And they will provide the
consideration is not. What?
Yeah, what I'm saying is when you're watching YouTube, you're providing your attention. In exchange, they will provide you advertisements, right? You get both the interesting content and advertisements. This is obviously a trade that you're making to YouTube. Like the fact that you're arguing, like anyone who would argue that you need to sign a contract, which I imagine you've already actually signed a contract with YouTube that highlights the fact that you are accepting the fact that you're being given advertisements, but I haven't read like YouTube's terms and conditions, so I can't really say that if that is or isn't.
I don't think that's a contract we would consider valid, to be honest.
Yeah, that wouldn't make much
But
sense.
even if it is,
Okay,
even
sure.
if it is, yeah, sure, I agree that I'll see an ad, but that's still not me paying my resources to the producer of the content.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
the
you
ad,
didn't
that's
give
between
them
the
money. You didn't give them money
advertiser.
yourself.
Now this does raise an interesting question though. If I hire a producer of snuff films to run an ad for me on their snuff site, have I committed an act of aggression?
I don't think so. Wait. Yeah, I don't think so.
Man.
Just immediately.
I just I think I'm like dumb sometimes. Like I just things seem so obvious to me, and yet everyone else seems to not be able to understand it, and it's just so simple.
Do you agree with what I said earlier, that in the case of you watching a YouTube video, that's not like some sort of contractual arrangement between, say, you and YouTube or something?
If you mean by contract, you mean literally signing a piece of paper, then I would agree.
I mean, when I say contract, I guess I mean like, it's like some sort of transfer of the titles to property. So, and in this case,
stop,
I don't
please
think
stop.
that's what.
Stop, please. You know full well that's not what a contract is, right? Obviously, you can provide services.
Contract. That's a
Wait.
Excuse me.
Let me finish my sentence. Obviously, you can also provide services in a contract, right? It's not just about physical goods and services. We both know this, right?
It's an exchange of property for some.
I mean, it's still an
Yeah.
Exchange of services or property. We can agree on that, right?
It's an exchange of services for property generally.
I mean, it's services regarding.
I mean, you don't exchange services for nothing.
You're just trying to fight me now. Generally, it's for property. Seriously.
Well, yeah, you don't exchange services for nothing, right?
Yeah, you also exchange services for other services.
Like what?
I mean, I already gave you the YouTube example, but you guys don't like that.
You're not exchanging that's not exchanging a service for another service. You're merely
the sleeping example as well.
How is it a transaction? Again, what's being transacted?
Oh my god.
What thing are you giving to them?
Can you answer the questions? You keep just being you never. Does this guy not answer my questions, or am I crazy?
Nothing is being transacted when you're sweeping.
Okay, nothing's being transacted. Yeah. Right, so you can't possibly say, "Oh, you're responsible for what YouTube does." I didn't fucking tell them, "Give me this, do this for me for something."
Room,
what the fuck?
On your behalf, am I responsible for the murder?
Would you ask?
No.
No.
Well, wait. What is the question?
What? If the person says, if you make an agreement, he will sleep your room, and in exchange, I will murder people. Are you saying that you have no responsibility for murdering those people?
Yeah, but that's that's a direct exchange. That's a direct exchange.
There's no money. There's no money.
Wait.
Yeah, but that's an agreement between two people.
That's a contract, right? We can agree it's a contract, right?
Yeah.
Nothing was signed, but it was a contract.
I mean, it doesn't need to be signed. It's an agreement.
Okay. I'm clearly being too
What were they
like
exchanging?
emotional. I'm clearly being too emotional, and
I
it's
think
like
so.
preventing you guys from like using your logic. So I'm just going to like go
I
back.
feel
to,
like
think
we're
I'm
being
using my logic
perfectly
pretty well.
logical. I don't see what's
No,
wrong.
you aren't. No, you aren't, because you don't understand. I never argued that two people sweeping is a financial transaction. This is self-evident. But instead, you're getting stuck.
What do you
in
mean? Wait, financial
you're not able to
transaction? What do you mean by
understand
financial
you don't
transaction?
understand my.
Did you say
You
financial
think two
transaction?
people sweeping is offering to sweep each other's rooms is a financial transaction?
Well, yeah, that could be. Well, it's not a financial
Yes.
transaction, but it's
could be
a.
Oh my
It
god!
is.
See,
It
this
is
what I mean. You're
a
not even
transaction.
engaging with my arguments anymore. Like it's.
What?
I mean, you just don't like our answers. I
We
think that's
can't
what's.
even agree. We can't even agree. I didn't say that
forgot
two
what is
people
it.
sweeping each other's rooms can't be a financial transaction. I was saying in the case where I offer to sweep your room and you then sweep my room, is that a financial transaction? And we have already agreed that it's not. Obviously, it's not. The contention is whether it's a contract or not.
I don't see what the problem is.
You know, I wish I like I actually understand why you guys don't really understand me. Like you don't like.
I think
to, like,
I think we
understand my
understand you. We
position.
just disagree.
I think that you don't understand
don't.
us.
No, you guys obviously agree that
well-
two people offering to sweep each other's rooms is a contract. And the thing that we both agree that two people sweeping each other's rooms isn't a financial transaction. We both agree on these things. But instead of like progressing in our arguments and progressing in our positions, we are now going back on things we've already agreed on. So no, you don't understand my positions, and no, you're not engaging with me logically.
I feel like I am.
Yeah, I think we have been.
I understand. Like in the beginning, you guys were like engaging with me far more logically than you are now, and I think
you're
that is
just
in part
mad because
like,
you don't agree with us, and then you're just trying to make us like seem more illogical.
What's the
than we are.
logical error we
No,
made?
I'm trying to use an emotional response to get you guys to think a little harder, but it's not working.
I think you're crashing out.
Maybe I think you're crashing out a little bit.
I'm
yeah.
crashing out.
Like,
I'm
I feel like
so
I'm pretty
unable to
calm.
use logic. I've been completely defeated by your positions.
Transaction.
I'll put you in a position.
Okay, explain the broom thing. Tell me what I was wrong about the broom thing.
What about the broom thing?
What about it?
Am I? Well, you saying that I haven't understood it, right?
Who said? Wait,
what?
Who said that?
Oh my god! You know what? Just have your conversation without me.
I'm willing. I'm willing to converse with you.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with you, bro.
Okay, then tell me where is our disagreement?
That YouTube, watching a YouTube video, and then as a result of that, the person who is in the YouTube video who did some aggression, you are responsible for that action because that person
Correct.
got paid.
And what is
Yeah,
the
we
core
disagree with it.
disagreement?
We disagree
Okay,
because
and
we
what
don't
is the
believe
core disagreement.
we don't believe that
What is
that's
the
a
difference between my?
we don't believe it's a legitimate. We don't believe it's a direct transaction.
Agreed. Okay. So what is the core disagreement between me and Cameron?
That you guys don't. Cameron, he doesn't see it as a direct transaction, whereas you do,
I don't see it as a transaction at all.
or a transaction at all. Yeah.
There we
Like,
go.
because you could say a direct transaction would be something like person A gives something to person B, and then I don't know. I don't know if is there some distinction between like a direct transaction?
I get what you're trying to say. They like the person you didn't give the person that money.
I just don't agree that there's any transaction though, whether or not this
I get what you're saying.
Direct one exists.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, Cameron, I see no difference between you saying, "Hey, I know I'm providing a service to a third person," right? So it could be YouTube or it could be a friend, right? And then if that third party then purchases or asks for a service, which is unconsensual. To me, these are both the same, right? You argue that YouTube is, since you do not pay YouTube to then give that person money, you are not providing them you're not responsible for those actions. But to me, it doesn't matter because you're providing a service to YouTube, which is then used to pay for those actions, right? It is no different to me if you if you sweep a friend's room and then that person uses their free time to hire a murderer to then kill someone, right? And you you watching YouTube, and YouTube uses that money it gets from advertisements to then pay someone to murder someone, right? These are the same situation to me. Even though in the second situation you have not financially contracted with them, right? You have not signed a contract. Well, in both situations you haven't signed a contract, so that's why they seem the same to me.
Yeah, because you're not giving them any money.
You aren't giving the person money in the first place in the first situation either, right? My friend, since I've swept their room, now uses that time to then hire a murderer.
Yeah, but you're directly
right?
you're going up to that person and you're making a direct transaction with them. Like, I'm going to do this for you and you're going to do this for me.
And when you do the same thing for YouTube, right?
No, yeah, but you're not. Are you making a direct transaction with the person who's killing the other person? Or are you making a transaction with YouTube?
No, you're in the first situation.
Also, wait a minute. Do you choose who gets paid on YouTube?
Yes.
No, you don't.
The person you watch.
Really? No, you don't.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
If you watch someone's YouTube video, they get.
Okay, so if you're scrolling on YouTube and you see a YouTube video, you're responsible for that.
Yeah, we agreed. We already on this that if you didn't intentionally pick on the video, it's not your responsibility.
Okay, but let's say you see a video and it's really, really cool, but then at the end they show somebody killing somebody. Are you still responsible?
Not your responsibility.
Oh, okay, no. Gotcha. Okay. But you still.
It is that you fully know that this content creator is going to use this money to go.
But you didn't actually you didn't go to that content creator and tell him to kill that person for money, right?
No, you didn't.
Okay, so then you're not doing a direct transaction with that person, right?
With your friend, you also didn't say that either, right? You know your friend will use that time to.
No, you went up to your friend, right? And you did make the transaction with him, right?
Yeah, but he.
Okay, did you go to the guy in the video and make that transaction with him?
Huh?
Did you go to the person in the video and make the transaction with him?
No, you didn't.
Okay, so that's the difference.
No, you didn't understand. The friend doesn't do the murdering. The friend hires a murderer.
Okay,
right?
did you tell your friend directly to hire a person to kill the other person?
No, but you know he will do that.
Did you tell him to do it?
No, but you know he will.
Okay, so then what did you do?
You swept his house for him, and now
swept his house for what?
Then
swept his house for what?
So he'll sweep your house back.
And then how does this lead to him? How does that lead to him making you responsible for killing someone?
You know that he will use that free time to hire a murderer to kill someone.
Okay, did you tell him to do that?
No, but you know he will do that.
But did you tell him to do that?
No.
Okay,
what does it matter that you know? I feel like you're trying to.
Then why does it matter? Then why is that? How is that your responsibility?
Because you know he will use that free time to kill someone.
So what? You didn't? Did you tell him to do that?
No.
But then it doesn't matter.
So if you know that if you poison someone's food, they will die.
Did you poison?
But
did you? But no. That's different because you're directly poisoning another person. Did you directly kill another person in that first hypothetical? No, correct.
In the first hypothetical, yes, you are killing the person.
No, no. Did you directly kill the person?
Yes, I would argue in both situations.
Okay, no. So you went to that person and murdered them.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely a direct killing.
Okay, so you went up to that person and you murdered him.
Mm-hmm.
In the hypothetical that you just went.
Yeah.
So you telling your friend, you giving your friend money, and then him going and using that money to kill somebody. That makes you responsible for him killing that person.
Yes.
Even if you didn't tell him to do it.
Are you arguing that if you pay a soldier to like fight in a war, you're not responsible? Like you're not responsible for fighting
if I give
war?
a soldier $5 and then he uses that money without me telling him to do so, to go buy a gun to shoot somebody, that's not my responsibility. Right?
I agree.
So if I give you $5, so if I give you $5, right? Let's say you see a homeless guy and you feel bad for him and you give him $5, that he goes and shoots heroin and then gets an overdose. Are you responsible for that now?
No.
So then
But you financially incentivized it.
However, if you know that the homeless person is going to use that money to then shoot heroin and kill himself, then you are responsible.
Why would that matter? That sounds like it's his responsibility.
Because
their responsibility,
if you know
right?
someone's going to eat a peanut allergy, right? Like there's a bar there, you know that there is a
if you buy somebody
peanut butter in it.
If you buy somebody a car and they get into a car accident, you know that there's going to be a chance that they'll get into a car accident, and they get into a car accident, then you're responsible for him getting into a car accident because you financially contributed to his death.
Can you repeat that again?
If you buy somebody a car, you know that there's a chance that they'll die by driving in that car. So if they die after you bought him that car, you're responsible for his death, partially.
I think there's I see what you guys are arguing, and now I kind of like I don't think my point has changed. However, I'm understanding why you guys are disagreeing with me now.
Yeah.
So this is where I'll explain it in a way that I think you guys will agree, right? I don't think that if you watch a YouTube video of a murderer who's committing murders, that you are responsible for every murder he's committed or whatnot. However, you do hold some responsibility for a murder he would do with the money he now has because you've watched his video.
How much responsibility?
Probably a very, very small amount, right?
So what exactly would that look like? Like, how would that be enforced? Like, what punishment do you get?
Yeah, like how much restitution
and to who?
I don't
care about punishment.
Well, like
I'm
what?
talking about moral culpability.
So you're not talking about any sort of legal culpability?
No.
Oh, so you can't. Oh, wait, really? So you're
well,
not
that's what
saying,
we were talking about.
So, yeah. So hold on, wait. So this whole time, you haven't been arguing that there's any sort of legal responsibility held by the consumer, like in the YouTube case, with the person watching the videos or whatever.
I think in extreme situations you could, right? Like if you're providing a donation to the person, that is a big enough of a moral culpability where it should be legislated.
Can it just be a donation for it doesn't matter, you're just donating, it doesn't matter why or exactly what the transaction is about.
If you're donating to a murderer, I think you are you should be punished for donating to a murderer who's going to use that money to murder people.
Punished to what degree?
Well, wait a minute. You could extend that logic to anybody who pays more taxes than they have to.
Yeah, if you pay taxes, then you're giving money to murderers.
I don't really see the difference. Yeah, I agree. I think that if you
but you don't have a choice to pay taxes, right?
Well, if you don't have a choice to pay taxes, then you're obviously what's it called? But taxation was saying if you choose to pay more in taxes, not how much you already are.
Yeah, like if somebody is knowingly paying more than they could get away with not paying, for instance, if you could, without getting abducted and imprisoned, you could only pay $5,000 a year, but for one reason or another, you choose to pay $6,000 a year.
Or what if you advocate for raising taxes? Wouldn't that also apply, right?
Yep, I agree.
So,
is the cause of the crimes being committed in the videos, or whatever.
I think on a very, very small level, a single person contributing 1 cent is contributing to the murder of the next person. Obviously,
they're kind of responsible, but not that responsible.
It's a very, 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 very small percentage, right? So I don't think that is worth. I can't name that percentage
because I don't think it's really quantifiable, right?
Yeah. It's not right.
Yeah.
So why would you say that?
Well, because obviously there is some culpability. If you know your money is going to help murder more people, you are responsible when you choose to engage in that activity, right? The value of watching that YouTube video might be higher for you.
How much culpability?
I don't know.
What do you?
Can you measure culpability?
Wait, but you're saying you shouldn't. You're saying that you should you or should you not get in legal trouble for this? I forgot. Did you say no?
At certain levels, you could get into legal trouble, right? If you give
if I binge watch, if I only watch one video, then I'm off the hook. But if I binge watch it, then it's
you're not off the hook in any of these situations. You asked me whether.
Sounds like you are though.
Yeah, but
it might not be. Can you say there's levels to it?
You're laughing because you're dumb.
Hold on. There's levels to it though.
Yeah. because I've never changed what I've said. I've said that in all situations you are morally culpable. However, you ask me, when do you become legally culpable?
So if I
Okay,
like
so you're
if I
always
Netflix
morally
binge
culpable,
watch
but not
it,
always. Sorry.
if I Netflix style binge watch it, then it's bad. But if I only watch like maybe 1 or 2, then it's you know.
You see, you're so fucking dumb that you
Wait,
don't
is that
understand
what
why
you would
you're wrong.
actually say? Do you
'cause
disagree with that?
Yeah, do you disagree with
You're
that?
not disagreeing with. No, you don't even understand my position.
Oh, does
This
it
is why
have to
I'm
be
calling
if
you
like
dumb.
if you give like a donation, that's when it starts to get serious, right? Didn't you genuinely say that? Like, I'm actually asking. Like you said, if you give
I
a
said
donation,
there
I
are
feel like these are.
murder-
I feel like you're
What
getting
is so hard
upset,
to
but these are
understand?
genuine questions. Like you do know that, right?
No.
Like
Yeah, I understand.
Is it because
they're
your
genuine
position's so
questions,
dumb that you think
but
the
you're also
questions
just
are like
genuinely
jokes?
dumb? Because my position is
Oh,
very
we're
simple.
dumb.
No, not you, not you, Cameron. I think
Oh.
you're intelligent. I think KingSithis isn't being really dumb at the moment.
Why
I
can't
don't
you
think I'm
pronounce
being-
anything,
I
for
don't-
God's sake, you dumb
it's
fuck?
I have
Sithis.
dyslexia. I have
Okay,
dyslexia.
one. Okay,
You have
I don't think I'm
dyslexia.
being that dumb. I'm
Cope.
also I'm mirroring.
Okay.
I'm mirroring
Then
literally what
KingSithis.
Cam is saying. So I don't see why how I'm dumb.
KingSithis.
Yeah, he
Do you not
agrees
understand?
with me.
Okay, so KingSithis, do you not understand the difference between me saying you are culpable in all situations? However, what I think should be legislated and what you are legally culpable only has to meet a higher criterion. Do you
I
understand the difference
know.
between
I
those
do understand
He-
that.
he
That's,
understands
I
that. He
was
do
asking
understand that. That's why
Oh
I'm
my God.
asking you.
He asked you about the number of videos thing because it's unironically like you could say that there's a difference, right? That's a genuine question. I want to know the
Yeah,
answer.
like if
you
I
think that's
binge
dumb, then
if
I'm
I
sorry,
binge
but, like,
watching,
that's what.
if I'm watching 1 or 2 videos, like I guess I'm off the hook. But if I binge watch it, right, like then I'll get in trouble.
But we're talking legally.
Because you're saying there's
Then,
degrees of responsibility.
Yeah, you're saying there's
Yeah.
degrees, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
So then that's
So you're
so then that's a legitimate question.
I thought you were saying morally, and then my bad. I misunderstood.
I think what he meant was if you watch like a couple of these kind of terrible videos, right? Then one could argue, like you might argue that you're still morally culpable, but you're not like you can't legally be held responsible. But then he was asking, as the number of videos you watch goes up, like if you binge watch a lot of them, is there a certain threshold it hits where you then become responsible legally somehow?
Yeah, exactly.
So does that happen on your view?
And under my position, yes.
So how do you quantify when, like how
many videos is too much?
You could say that like once you've provided like $100 worth of AdSense to the murderer, then you are legally culpable for I don't know, like a misdemeanor.
But
or
Judge,
something like that.
I only gave him $99.99, so I'm good.
Oh, then you're off the hook, my dude.
Yeah.
So it's just like an
How it's
arbitrary
pretty
number,
law.
right?
Oh, it's almost like everything is an arbitrary number.
Well, that's not.
That's not how we do it.
And every cutoff is an imaginary number.
That's not how we do it.
I don't know.
Oh, really? When
do you
you
mean by
when you
that?
make over $60,000, is this based off of an objective choice of like?
We don't
when,
believe in
like,
taxes.
Yeah, but we're not like dictating like whether you've committed a crime based on like if you've like provided more than or at least $100. Like this is. I don't understand how you're.
So, for
arriving
instance,
at, like
if we
100.
don't,
Like,
you're not going to charge
You're
somebody.
really
We're not going to charge somebody
proposing.
based on, oh, you only committed $100 worth of damage, so therefore you're off the hook. That's not enough damage. No, if you commit $100 worth of damage, you owe $100, right? Like there's no arbitrary cutoff, right?
Okay, so okay, fine.
Yeah,
fine.
that's a good point.
If you've caused, wait, like this is just like, okay. Your position, like, how do I explain this? Right?
Are
If
you
I
really this
provide-
puzzled over our issue with your point?
No, what I'm puzzled by is how to explain it for your simple mind. So
I'm simple-minded. Okay, so I'm simple-minded, but you believe in this arbitrary number cutoff that dictates whether
yes,
someone
because
will go
everything
to
is
get
arbitrary,
in
and
fucking.
if you had any intelligence, you would know that.
Everything's arbitrary. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Math
Exactly.
is math arbitrary?
Yes. If you knew mathematics, you would know this. It's a self-referential system. You have to believe 1 + 1 is equal to 2. It is not self-evident in the universe.
Oh, got you.
Okay.
Okay. So let me try to explain this. Right. So if let's say I.
How does that mean it's arbitrary? Okay.
Because if you have to believe something in order for it to be prove itself to be. I mean, arbitrary is like it's not objective, right? So objective is like no matter without bias, you can know it's true,
Well,
right?
the objective would just mean a
Arbitrary is just that it's so
mind-independent
random.
truth.
What?
Objective would mean a mind-independent truth.
Okay, maybe in philosophy, it's I don't like philosophy, but maybe I don't know.
I mean, what it means is that it's true outside of our mind, and since it doesn't, it would exist without us being
This has arguably been
here.
a philosophical conversation.
Yeah, it kind of has been.
What do you mean you don't like? You're literally okay.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of
I
philosophy
hate
going on here.
I hate philosophy.
Is Unk implying
It's like
math
moral
is
legal
subjective?
philosophy,
Yes, he
no?
is.
So when you murder someone, right? How do you quantify the punishment that they should have? Is what you've been asking me.
Well, that'll be
right?
determined through arbitration.
And you think that is an objective? An objective?
No,
means?
whether or not the person's guilty is objective, but whether or not how much money he owes to the other person is determined through arbitration.
And that is objective.
Oh yeah.
Wait, how is that? How is that objective?
Well, I mean, it's.
I was kind of tuned out, and I just tuned back in.
It's
but...
not I guess. Okay, here's what I'm saying. It's not made up. That is not made up arbitrarily. Whether or not the person is guilty,
it's not made up arbitrarily.
It's not determined arbitrarily. It's determined based on the
price
NAP.
of an apple arbitrary?
We guilt is determined objectively. How much money I owe you for, say, beating you up or something? How would that not be arbitrary?
No. I didn't say that. I said whether or not you're guilty is not arbitrary. It's based on the non-aggression principle. How much you owe the other person, that would be dependent on arbitration.
That is arbitrary.
Well, whether or not the person's guilty?
No one's
Wait, hold on.
about guilt.
The amount paid could be
That's what I
based on
said.
certain objective facts, though. Like how much were your medical bills? Like that, and then restitution would be like double that. Like that wouldn't have to be arbitrary. I don't really agree. For like restitution.
It's saying that it's the medical bills times 2 would be an arbitrary. That would still be an arbitrary figure.
Yeah, because prices are determined through, they're not. It's not based on some objective standard. It's based on.
You can say that the medical bills. It would be factual to say that the medical bills are a minimum to at least cover financial cost. But it would seem arbitrary to say that compensation for pain and suffering and so on is just double whatever the medical bills are.
Yeah, that's why I said arbitration would figure that out.
Not to mention, if there's a punitive element for deterrent effect, then that might well exceed the medical bills. For example, if I go into your house and I tie up your wife, and I beat her, and I rape her, I do terrible things for like all night long. I'm torturing her, but I'm very careful. I don't want to damage her because I intend to use this. I intend to use this woman again in the future for the same purpose. So I barely do any actual physical damage to her. So there's very little medical bills, right? I accidentally knocked a tooth out, and so there's like a $1,000 dental bill for that. You wouldn't then say that my sentence is I only have to pay $2,000 for this.
Sure, I guess I should clarify. Like, I think I remember. What Sithis, was your point that like when he was arguing, or when he was explaining how?
My point was like how you determine it is through arbitration, which I guess would be arbitrary. But whether or not he's guilty is not determined arbitrarily. It's based on the non-aggression principle.
And
that's the point that I was trying to make.
He was saying basically that whether or not you're guilty is based on like this arbitrary number, like how much ad revenue you generated. Okay, I think I see your point.
Mm-hmm.
But that's different from like determining restitution, even if that would be arbitrary now. Because like in one case you're determining how much someone owes another person, but in the other case, like in the case of watching the YouTube videos, he was saying that how much ad revenue you generate through your like viewer time or whatever, that would determine, like, it has to be at least 100. That would literally determine your guilt, and that would be
okay, so
arbitrary.
like the non-aggression principle
Arbitrary
isn't
standard.
a arbitrary standard, because an arbitrary standard would be between two spectrums, right? And then you're choosing in between those two spectrums, right? Whereas the non-aggression principle is not in between two spectrums, right? It is the non-aggression principle and not the non-aggression principle. You're either initiating force or you're not. You know, it's a binary.
When it's principled, it's not like
Yeah.
random at all.
Whereas he was like, it's either wrong to support that guy, or it's not wrong to support that guy. Well, actually, it's okay to support him when you watch this amount of videos, but if you go past this amount of videos, then it's wrong. That's what you would call an arbitrary standard, because it's in between two spectrums.
There was no like principled standard he was
Exactly.
I would concede to what taxation is theft was saying earlier about restitution, but I think I should clarify then that my point would be that like how that guy was determining whether someone was guilty was based on an arbitrary standard, but with restitution, like, it's not determining guilt. Like, guilt is determined non-arbitrarily based on whether someone violated the NAP, violated someone else.
It's just how you determine how.
And that's not arbitrary.
It's just how you determine what the penalty should be. That's why we call it arbitration, because you have somebody sort of arbitrarily making a decision.
Yeah, and yeah.
Taxation is
So the
theft.
adjudication itself is supposed to be properly rooted in the NAP. Like, what the ruling is, that's like not arbitrary on our view.
Yeah, whether or not the person is guilty is based on the NAP.
Yeah, so like our
wait a
standard
minute.
isn't like arbitrary.
Whether or not the person is guilty is not based on the NAP. Whether the thing they're guilty or not guilty of is an act of aggression is an NAP matter. For instance, if I'm accused of having walked up and shot somebody in the head, the NAP doesn't tell you whether I did it or not, but it does tell you that that's typically not okay behavior.
You can examine the situation and determine based on the NAP whether the person in question is guilty, whether the defendant is guilty.
Whether they're guilty of aggression, not whether or not they did the thing they're accused of.
Sure, sure.
You know, I have been guilty
That's what I meant.
I have been guilty of drug distribution, but you know, not an NAP violation.
Okay, I've been really enjoying playing Warmane, not gonna lie.
You mean the band?
No, not the band. It's a World of Warcraft private server.
Oh, nice. I used to play WoW. I played so much WoW, holy shit. Played like 10 years straight.
You ever played any private servers, like Warmane or anything?
No, I have wanted to in the past, and I just never did.
What kind of version of WoW do you like?
There are versions?
There are many versions. There are many versions, yeah. What's like your favorite? Which one do you like? Did you like Vanilla, Wrath of the Lich King?
Probably Wrath.
So Wrath of the Lich King, Warmane is probably your best bet, because they has an always full of people. It's they have a server that has like 7 times XP, tons of add-ons.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's super fun. It's like you level up super quick and shit.
You could set up, and you could choose if you don't want to be leveling up. Like I put mine to 1 times XP because I like having it slow. But if you want to be fast, it has faster reputation. It has faster things. Then there's things like, if you're more of a vanilla guy, there's things like Turtle WoW, which is Turtle WoW is basically vanilla, but they call it Vanilla Plus, Classic Plus, essentially, where they add more content on top of the vanilla game, essentially. and a bunch of add-ons are really good. All the add-ons work. A lot of add-ons work with it. You know, it works very well, and it's all free. So.
Oh, that's super cool.
Right now, I'm playing on Warmane.
Nice.
I wonder if the diversity of demand for arbitration within a large enough anarcho-capitalist society would produce any courts that allow a disputant to demand a trial by combat.
If both sides would be
probably, like, at
okay
least
with
one.
it, I wouldn't see why not. I mean, if both sides are okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, like, me
I feel
and
like
you
it would
agree
be it would be unorthodox, but you know.
Of course, me and you agree to a court, right? You accuse me of I don't know, stealing milk from out of one of your cows with my mouth, and I say I didn't do it, and you know, you are. Yeah, right. I say I didn't do it, right? So, you know, we've both agreed to the Friendship Sunny arbitration court. And at the Friendship Sunny arbitration court, they have an option there where any defendant is allowed to demand a trial by combat, in which case both me and you can each hire a champion on our behalf. And the champions, they fight to the death.
Like Game of Thrones.
This is like Roman gladiators or some shit.
Yeah, like I hire, you know, the Mountain, and you hire the Viper.
Yeah.
What was his name? Prince Oberyn. You hire Prince Oberyn.
Yes.
And so I am found not guilty when the Mountain crushes Prince Oberyn's head.
We just have
That'd
like
be pretty cool.
a Roman Colosseum and.
Would you go to one of these?
I'd go.
I wouldn't personally want a trial by combat. I guess the only scenario I would want a trial by combat is like I murdered somebody. I'm totally guilty. I look very guilty because I am, and I'm trying to be found not guilty of a murder I look very guilty of, and am likely found guilty of if we have a conventional trial. Then I would demand a trial by combat.
I mean, they did this in ancient Rome. They had the Colosseum. It was kind of.
Here's the thing. I don't think the insurance companies would go for this. I
don't think
that
so neither.
The primary customer of courts, especially when we're talking about criminal cases, you know, murder cases, the primary customers of the courts would be insurance companies who are representing, you know, one represents me and one represents you. They have a dispute. They're trying not to go to war because your company wants to, you know, kill me or extract restitution. Mine is sworn to protect me and stop them from doing that. To avoid war, they take it to an arbitrator. I don't think it benefits them to have a policy of just fucking flip a coin, because they want to be able to actuarially mitigate risk. And part of that for both of them is that when somebody murders my client, them having actually murdered them means a greater odds of them being prosecuted successfully than them having not murdered them.
This is an
that it's not equal.
This is an interesting political philosophy that I'm just now being made aware of.
Oh, we're AnCaps. Do you know what AnCap is?
I mean, I knew there's all kinds of fringe, I knew there was all kinds of different political theories.
Well, yes. All right. So we're anarcho-capitalists. We want to just get the government out of it, simplify things, just privatize everything.
Maybe.
Meaning, to say it another way, I think that there is no service that can be done better by a forcibly funded monopoly than by a competitive free market, where many firms are each trying to do a better job than the other firms in terms of price, in terms of quality. I think that services. I think services like protection and infrastructure and law and education and defense, I think these things are way too important to be left up to government. They're too important not to be subject to full market forces.
We need to fully privatize everything, and legalize prostitution.
Has this ever been tried on like a
Well, kind of. There have been historical versions of it. So in historical
Iceland. I really
Iceland is not a good example because in Iceland they didn't privatize the law itself, and that's pretty central. They did have a central governmental legislative body that decided the law, and that government also controlled the courts. It's just that the enforcement was handled by, you could kind of say, private hired chiefs. It was a weird structure, and the you could say that the kind of authoritarian-ish built-in hierarchies, mandatory hierarchies within that structure in terms of the law, eventually gave rise to the disputes, or I should say to the conflicts that broke down the society and led to them being rather welcoming of conquest by the King of Norway. So I don't think Iceland is the best example. I think better historical examples would be medieval Ireland, medieval Somalia, and to some extent the Old West. And you could say Zomia as well, with a few asterisks. Zomia is cool because it lasted so fucking long. Zomia, by itself, shuts down two big claims that Stater-Tots make a lot. One of which is that anarchy can only work on a small scale with very few people. Zomia had up to 100 million people, at least well into the tens of millions. And the other one is that anarchy is inherently very short-lived, and it quickly turns into government again. Well, Zomia lasted for about 2,000 years.
Damn.
In fact, there are still parts of Zomia today in the remote regions that are still beyond the reach of governments. Not that the governments are trying very hard. These are remote, these are remote villager kind of areas. They're not very interested in it anymore. But for about 2,000 years, there were roughly 5 or 6 governments trying to conquer Zomia, and they were totally failing. Zomia was kind of more so mixed economy than the other examples, but it was mixed economy in voluntary terms. For instance, meaning they did relegate a lot of their local economic sectors to kind of voluntary forms of labor pooling and mutual aid, but they also had prominent participation in capitalistic markets. They were major exporters of opium, for instance. Individuals, or more often families, would privately own, say, an opium farm. They would privately own, say, an opium farm, and then they would sell the opium to traders, and then traders would transport it to the lowland and sell it to the lowland city-state people, or take it even further out, take it even, in some cases, to do business with, European outlaws. They were drug dealers. It was a society of millions of drug dealers.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like
that
it.
one. Ireland bore some similarities, you could say, to the Icelandic system, except in Ireland, they didn't have a central legislative body, and they didn't have a government that was in control of the courts. Rather, in Ireland, they had a free market in courts, a free market of private arbitration called the Brehon system. Enforcement was handled through a series of contractual relationships called surety contract networks. Their military defense, which was in its own right quite successful, their military defense was handled by private armies called To AnCaps. They didn't have anything resembling a government, at least not in most of Ireland. There were parts of Northern Ireland that were successfully controlled by the English following the first Norman invasion in the 1100s.
Yeah, I know.
But by and large, right. But speaking to most of Ireland, it wasn't until conquest by Cromwell in the 17th century that the British gained any real foothold there.
When you say Cromwell, are you talking about the guy who instituted the Protestant thing, or no?
You mean the Church of England?
Yeah.
I think so, but I'm questioning that. I don't know.
That was the guy who tried
I
to
don't-
change the country from like from Catholic to Protestant, right?
I
Protestant
believe
Reformation.
so, but now I think so, but I'm not sure. I might well be wrong on that. Something is sounding right about that, but I don't know.
I was just wondering.
I mean,
Oliver
Protestantism
Cromwell.
is just reformed Catholicism.
That's pretty reformed. They're both Christianity.
Right, they're just I mean, because it's just branching off from Catholicism.
And then the American Old West we've all fucking heard of. The American Old West is the most modern one, you could say. We're talking like 1800s. Not all of the old American Old West. Of course, there were some places that were under the control of various governing bodies. The town of San Francisco had a town sheriff and a town hall and so on. But then there were also a bunch of communities, various cattle ranching communities and mining and rural type societies where they didn't have anything like a government. And there were some full-blown towns that they didn't have anything like a government. They didn't have the town sheriff. They didn't have the town hall and the deputy.
Holy shit, San Francisco.
Instead, they handled it all. What were you saying?
I live close to San Francisco. San Francisco is such a.
Oh, okay.
I
know it is.
The homeless, man.
And you know what? It was kind of, in certain respects, it was kind of a shithole back then too. That is to say, San Francisco had some of the most violent. It had some of the most violence in the West.
Yeah.
In the places that didn't have government, what they generally did was, instead of having the police or a sheriff, they would have private security companies, and or range detectives, where you hire a guy or a few guys to protect your cattle from rustlers and so on.
Did it work
And then instead of having, up until the takeover of the West by government in the late 19th century, then
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I live like 45 minutes from San Francisco.
Right on. Sorry to hear you have to deal with the state of California. Yeah, I think California is a cool place in terms of geography and to some extent
Oh,
people,
it's awesome.
depending where.
The weather's awesome.
Oh, I would love to
Beautiful
live somewhere
state.
like California. If you didn't have to deal with the state of California, I would love to be in California. I'd be in like Humboldt County or something.
Right, I don't like. There's a lot of things. There's different things I don't agree with. How they're
What about
running
Humboldt
the,
County?
No, just California. How they're running the government.
Oh yeah, there's a song about it. California Uber Alice by the Dead Kennedys. This is one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, it's just.
And that was like back in the 80s. They were talking about what a woke, like, what is the, I don't know what term you'd use for this, but like progressive authoritarian progressive, basically shithole California was becoming. And
So
that
are
was
you,
like back in the 80s.
So are you like anti LGBT and stuff?
I am quasi LGBT myself. At least I've been known to get down with the femboys here and there.
Quasi, I mean,
That means I primarily fuck women, but sometimes I like women and close enough, basically.
Close enough. No, because
Yeah.
I'm bisexual, so I like, but I
have no issue with LGBT stuff.
Okay, just making sure.
In fact, it bothers me to no end what they're doing in places like where I live. I live in fucking Florida, and they keep wanting to pass laws and shit about it.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any. There shouldn't be laws about it in either fucking direction, is how I see it. There shouldn't be a law that says you can't get these pills to change yourself, and there also shouldn't be a law that says fucking you're not allowed to choose who you hire based on this. I think if you want to not hire me, if you want to not hire me because I fuck around with femboys, I think that's your prerogative.
Yeah.
I think that's weird for someone to care that much, but whatever. We don't have to do business.
Care so much about what other people do in their bedrooms.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. Well, maybe you have some libertarian leanings at heart, even if you don't know it yet.
Yeah, I would say I'm libertarian. more.
Libertarians have a saying that is, the Republicans promise to stay out of your wallet. The Democrats promise to stay out of your bedroom. Libertarians want to stay out of your wallet and your bedroom.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as I'm concerned, I think you should be able to just own yourself and make your own choices in your life and do whatever you want with yourself and your property, up to the point of violating this same liberty in somebody else.
It's my fucking life, dude. Like,
That's
it's our
that's
lives.
very much.
Like,
That's very much.
How the hell are you gonna tell us? How are you gonna tell me to live my life?
God, you know what the funniest shit in California is? I like to watch California politicians talk about guns.
Oh, jeez.
Holy shit. This weapon, it holds a 30 caliber clip and is capable of discharging 1,000 bullets per second.
Jesus.
I don't know if it was a Cali person. There was a politician who said, an American politician, I think it might have been California, I don't know. It was an American politician who said, this was a woman, it was a black woman, I can't remember her name. She said that an AR-15 weighs as much as 10 fully loaded moving boxes.
What the hell? What the hell?
Fully loaded moving boxes.
That's the worst.
Yeah, like if you're...
How heavy are these moving boxes?
That's like if you're moving and you fill 10 boxes. I don't know, so boxes that, picture a box when you're moving, right? They're not little tiny boxes. They're not little boxes the size of a shoe. They're big. They're boxes. So, yeah, so 10, like you fill 10 of those with your random household objects of no particular weight, by the way.
You're telling me that it weighs like 75 pounds?
It's weird to use volume as a substitute for weight if you're trying to describe the weight of something.
Yeah, what the hell?
But, so, I mean, they can be full of feathers. But,
True.
I think for this to be true, it would have to literally just be the boxes.
How heavy is an AR-15 anyway, like in pounds? Or is that what the gun they said was?
A few pounds. I used to have an AR-15 before the government stole it, and I don't know exactly how many pounds. I'd say 5 or less.
Those must be really light moving boxes then.
I wonder what the statistics are on like
I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna say definitely 10 or less.
I wonder what the statistics are on like when do people actually use guns the most? Like
by far, target shooting.
Target shooting, right? Yeah. Okay.
By far.
Right.
Like by an enormous margin, and then the next most common would be hunting.
Shooting themselves in the dick.
Then the next most common would be suicide.
Jesus
unless you count times that you're using a gun but not actually shooting it in the course of an interpersonal conflict. For example, I have more than once presented guns threateningly to end a conflict.
Oh shit.
And it worked, by the way.
Wait, were these potentially like turning into dangerous conflicts?
Yes, I would have been killed.
Oh Jesus! Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, well that's fine. I would say that's self-defense.
Like for example, one of them, somebody came into my house, and or my apartment, when I lived in an apartment, and well, they didn't have to break in. My back sliding glass door was unlocked because I was home.
That's still,
and
for me, that's still breaking in.
I cocked a rifle, and that worked. He left.
Exactly. So I'm all for the Second Amendment because.
But anyway, so that I don't know common the shit of just like showing someone a gun or making them hear the sound of you racking your gun or something to like end a potentially deadly altercation, because a lot of gun people are like all gung-ho in saying that you never just present it, never point a gun at someone unless you're going to pull the trigger. I think that's bullshit, personally. I think you can often end the situation just by brandishing the gun.
Now, is that
And-
is that legal to brandish a gun?
It depends on the scenario. You're not allowed to go to a Pizza Hut and just start pointing your gun at people.
No, I mean, is it
Nor
illegal
should
to brandish?
be.
Is it legal to brandish a gun when it could turn into a deadly altercation or potentially deadly altercation?
Like a
That
defensive manner, you mean?
But
functionally, it depends on where you are
and you
and
have
what
to
the
be able to-
scenario is.
right? Like, it
For
has to
example,
be
if
determined.
in most places, at least in America, if I walk up to you at an ATM, I punch you in the face and I tell you to give me $300, and you pull a gun on me, you've broken no laws. Unless
Right.
maybe you are carrying it illegally or something, but even then, the crime, legally speaking, would just be carrying without a permit. It wouldn't be that you pointed it at me.
Right.
In fact, some cops, especially some sheriff departments, might even give you a reprieve, might even look the other way about you carrying when you weren't supposed to be, just based on the fact that it was a justified act of self-defense, and some of them operate within an ethical compass. Not all of them. A lot of them don't, believe me. One time I had the cops beat the shit out of me over guns, by the way. I had the cops beat the shit out of me for 15 minutes while I was in handcuffs.
Holy shit!
Over
did nothing
being
wrong.
illegally armed.
I'm sure there's dirty.
Not
There's always dirty.
brandishing, not pointing it at anyone. Well, there was like 9 or 10 cops present. 7 of them were actively beating the shit out of me. And the other ones that weren't participating weren't saying anything either. They were just fucking standing there.
Well, that's as bad as doing it to me.
Wait, where was this again?
Baltimore.
I mean, like,
Baltimore.
was it in like a? I've heard you tell the story. Like, was it in a building, right?
No, it was in
Where was it just
it was in the parking lot of the Old Corp Metro station, which is it's a subway station. It was outside.
What exactly happened, like, leading up to them doing that?
Yeah.
This is such an embarrassing story for me, but sure, I'll tell it. So,
oh no.
I'd had a 357 snubby. That was my everyday carry, and I lent it to a friend. By the way, for context, I was 17 at the time, and I'd lent my 357 to a friend. One thing led to another. I never got it back, and I started hitting up friends and shit, looking to get, a replacement. Didn't have to be exactly that. I just needed a pistol, basically. And my gun guy had told me that his guy got swatted, and his guy had fucking crazy shit. He wasn't getting out anytime soon. This guy had, like, military hardware ass shit.
Oh my goodness.
But, so I kept hitting people up, and people I knew had guns weren't looking to sell any. So I went on armslist.com because I was in a rush, and I didn't want to just go ask random strangers and shit, or try again to get one from the BGFs. So I went on armslist.com, which is a legal gun buy and sell website.
Right.
And I put up an ad that was clearly illegal. I put up, not an ad, but like a listing, where I basically just said, I'm just looking to buy a pistol for, budget is $250. And I said, meet in a public place in the listing. That makes it very illegal. That makes it clearly illegal, because in Maryland, you're required to go through an FFL or the state police department, and you need an HQL, a handgun qualification license.
God.
Yeah, Maryland is fucked. So,
bunch of bullshit.
I get a call in response to that listing. I get an email and then a call from the guy who emailed, and the guy seemed like a potential undercover cop to me, something I was worried about. And so I asked my lawyer. I said, "Hey, can a cop hand you a gun?" And he said, what do you mean? I said, like, can a cop set you up, like where they're handing you a gun that you're not allowed to have, like in order to bust you? Can a cop hand you a gun in the commission of a crime? And he said, I don't think so. I don't know. That doesn't smell right. So based on that, I did it.
Like a sting operation.
It's fucking sting operation. And so I meet up with the guy. I meet up with the guy at the subway station that was right next to my apartment. And well, not my, my mom's apartment that I lived in. And I give him the money. He gives me a brown paper bag with the gun in it. It was a Stallard Arms 9mm, look, which is like an off-brand High Point. It makes High Point look name brand. Very big, blocky thing. Mm-hmm. And I tell him, I say, hey, by the way, man, don't worry about this. Like, I don't have plans or anything. I'm just gonna, keep this on me, keep it by the bed and so on, and just in case. But, sleep easy. Basically, like I tell him, I'm not gonna be doing anything with this.
Not gonna be like you doing armed robberies or murdering someone. Or...
I didn't have any plans.
Right.
So, I shake his hand, and I start walking away. He made like some weird racist joke about how we're the only white people at the station, and how we stick out like a sore thumb. I guess that's not racist, but I start walking away. I get about 10 steps, and then this car comes screeching up right in front of me, like cuts me off. And as soon as the car comes and screeches in front of me, clearly intentionally, I immediately know that this is nothing good. I didn't know if it's cops or what. So I just book it. I just start running just as fast as I could. And then about 7 cops pop out of this Kia Soul, which I don't even think has 7 seats. But 7 fucking cops pop out of it. I'm already running, and my philosophy is once you've started running from the police, you may as well see it through. You've already committed the crime of fleeing and eluding, so you might as well see if it works. And I was actually doing well. I was chubby even then, but I had fear on my side. I was getting further and further away from him. Oh, we're talking a few feet, by the way. But I seem to be faster than them. And I hear from behind me, taser, taser, taser. And I look back and I watched him tase me. I had so much adrenaline going, it did not stop me. I kept running. I did shit myself, but I kept running.
Oh my God.
And I passed this car, and I guess the cops knew I might run because they had cops like hiding and waiting in every direction that I might be running, and hiding behind cars and shit. So I pass a car, and a cop pops out from behind that car and tackles me. And as he's tackling me, my elbow might have touched his face. But other than that, there was no physical resistance. And the rest catch up, and they start beating the shit out of me. And then they had pinned my hands to the ground when they tackled and dogpiled me. They get them yanked out. They get my hand yanked out from under me, and they get me handcuffed. And then they kept beating the shit out of me, though. They kept beating the shit out of me, though. After I was handcuffed, they were kicking me in the sides, stomping my fucking skull into the ground, punching me in the back. They're just beating the living fuck out of me while I'm in handcuffs. And you would think this would go on for like 10 seconds, and they'd all go, oh wait, he's cuffed. We don't have to keep doing this. No, they just kept fucking doing it, minute after minute after minute, which feels like an eternity when you're getting your ass beat. Like 15 fucking minutes, they're beating the shit out of me. They're laughing and shit. They're having a party out of it. There could not have been more clear-cut police brutality. But this was just before the age of body cameras. It was my word against theirs.
Oh shit.
So they get me to the. Oh, after they finished beating the shit out of me, I was a minarchist at this time, so I'm all like moaning about my constitutional rights and shit. And at one point, the supervisor says, "Hey, calm down, kid. We're just doing our jobs." I said, "So are the fucksies."
Okay, the
pinning, when I said,
down, I can understand that, but anything after that was police brutality. Like pinning you down, like pinning your hands down is okay, right? Is that legal?
Well, I don't think any of this. I think what the crime I was committing should not be a crime in the first place for the Second Amendment.
Right, but let's say. Okay, anyways, you keep going. Sorry.
So he said, "Calm down, kid. We're just doing our jobs." I said, "So are the fucking Nazis." And when I said that, a bunch of their faces had this delicious look of like, "Are we the baddies?" There's like just discomfort because they knew what they had just fucking done. And I'm all like fucking broken on the ground and shit. I'm all bloodied and broken on the fucking ground saying that. And so, oh yeah, that cop says, "How old are you?" I said, I don't know if I said 17 or 17 bitch. I might have just later thought I should have said bitch. But I at least said 17. And he says, "If you were my 17-year-old, you wouldn't be going to the precinct. You'd be going to the fucking dentist because I'd knock your fucking teeth out." And I said, "Father of the year. I'd rather that. I'd rather get a fucking more ass beaten over a charge." And so they get me to the station. They did not let me change my pants that I had shat because of the taser. The taser made me shit my pants. They shackled me to a bench and then would not let me change or clean myself or change my pants for like 4 hours shackled to a bench.
Sitting there with shit in your pants.
Yes, I'm sitting on a bench. I literally can't get up from the bench. And it was shit in my butt.
Was your ass like raw after you cleaned it?
It was very itchy.
It's getting a little weird.
It was very itchy and irritated and uncomfortable. You know, you ever see someone not change a baby? It was like that. So,
damn.
About 4 or so hours later, yeah, they put me in a regular cell at the precinct, and then eventually I get put in front of the commissioner, and I find out that I'm being charged with 4 different charges, and I get the police report. All over the police report, they fucking lied. They lied through their teeth all over. So one of the lies was, do you remember how I said that I told the cop before I knew he's a cop? I said, "Hey, that I don't have any plans for this gun. That I'm going to keep it by the bedside. I'm going to carry it. But I'm not going to go do anything with this. So like sleep easy." Yeah, the way he worded that in the police report was, he assured me he would put it to good use. Sounds like That sounds like I'm about to go commit like a justified murder or something. And then, okay, you remember how I said that my elbow had touched a cop, but then otherwise no resistance other than the initial running, and then they beat the shit out of me while I was in handcuffs? Yeah, so the way they told that story, I was beating the shit out of the cops. There's all these cops, and I'm punching and kicking the cops. I'm beating the fuck out of them all. That's what the police report said. I mean, it didn't say beating the fuck out. But, it says I'm punching and kicking police officers. And when I get to the regular county jail, my friend Kayvon wanted to see my papers, and he's reading my papers out loud to everybody there. He's standing up on the table. Everybody's gathered around like story time because everybody wanted to know what white boy's in for. I was the only white guy in my section. And gets to that part of the papers. He says, "Was punching and kicking police officers. Oh shit, white boy, I told you." And I didn't correct him. I let everyone think that I was the Hulk beating off 7 cops. Wait, not beating off like jacking off. I mean beating off like, beating them up.
You guys are anarcho.
Yes, we're anarcho-capitalists. And the story I'm telling is part of what led me to become an anarcho-capitalist, by the way. This is part of what radicalized me.
I'm not an anarcho.
So, are you guys, what, very right-wing or something? Or are you guys what?
If you define right-wing as economic individualist and left-wing as economic collectivist, then we are at the very furthest right. If you define right-wing as like culturally conservative and left-wing as culturally progressive, then anarcho-capitalists can be anywhere on that spectrum.
Yeah.
So you're like, that's the same thing with communists being conservative.
Communists can be conservative. Communists can be progressive.
Right.
They've often been conservative. People think of communists as always like left, but in every sense of the word. But Castro was very fucking conservative. Che Guevara, ultra conservative. Stalin, very conservative in many ways.
Right.
Do you dislike conservatism? I think it's regressive.
Personally, when I take the political spectrum tests, on the economic spectrum, I always get the very furthest right. On the libertarian authoritarian spectrum, I always get the very bottom, so I'm always in the very bottom right corner. But when there is also a cultural slider, like progressive versus conservative, I tend to be on the progressive side.
So you're more like freedom, basically.
That's kind of how I am. That's basically.
Yeah, I'm a freedom guy. I'm freedom in every way.
Isn't capitalism just freedom, no restriction?
No, not necessarily.
I think I think capitalism is freedom, depending on how you define capitalism. If you define capitalism in some weird way as like big corporations run everything, and you have cronyism in government where the big corporations call the shots, and enslavement of. Yeah, so if you'd mean all that stuff when you say capitalism, then no, I don't think that's freedom. I think what we have in America now does not qualify as capitalism.
No.
So has capitalism made you like rich or like happier?
I think the elements of capitalism that we do have, that is the degree to which we have market allocation of resources, absolutely has made me much richer than I would otherwise be. Has made the very poorest people richer than they would otherwise be, or I should say less poor.
Has increased the
quality. How do you be rich as a capitalist? I need advice. How do you be rich?
How do you become rich?
Yes.
You improve other people's lives in a way that they're willing to pay you for.
Yeah. Basically. That's basically.
So a business.
Yeah, pretty much. You provide some sort of good or service that people are willing to exchange for money.
It doesn't have to be that you start a business. It can just be that you provide something to one business. You know, you might be not a very good business owner or entrepreneurial-minded thinker, but you might be a you might be a phenomenal chief technical officer or something like that. You know, you can. I don't. Correct. I don't believe in it. At least 3 of us here do not believe in government, including myself.
Me too. I don't support government.
So no state. You don't believe in a state like that.
Hell no.
So you don't.
We don't want there to be. Let me clarify. We don't want there to be a state. We don't believe in the concept of countries, but there is a state. But to say don't believe in it, I hope you don't mean deny that it's there. I just deny that it's desirable.
I don't believe that there's a state.
So I
don't believe it's there.
I don't believe it's there. I don't believe
what I heard is. I think as long as they're willing to keep their hands to themselves, they're fine by me. If you want to just go have a commune and, workers collectivize their own shit voluntarily and do all that, I think you'll be hungry, but I think it's fine. If pick your poison. If that's the kind of way you want to live, more power to you. I hope it works out well. I truly do.
If you want to starve, that's up to you. Hey.
Hey, look, I should qualify. Look, I'm being a bit patronizing there. I should point out, anarcho-communism does have a history of at least letting its people be generally fed when it is done at a small scale, or even when it's done at a large scale, but kind of confined that where the collective is small. So, for example, the Iroquois, you could kind of say lived a version of anarcho-communism. And they were not constantly emaciated like it was Holodomor, to my understanding. They survived for many centuries. So I don't think anarcho-communism is likely to yield much luxury, but it can absolutely keep you alive. And if you feel more free and more empowered in kind of a collective ownership arrangement, then, maybe it's not for me, but it might be the best thing for you.
I would say I'm a constitutionalist.
I thought the Soviet Union was state capitalist.
The Soviet Union was, I would say, state socialist.
But they still.
it's simply just a communist.
Every government is in a mixed economy.
If you talk to communists, they will insist that no society that ever existed has been communist because they define communist as like this unreachable nirvana, where you have like a stateless, classless, moneyless society, which, by the way, I see a bit of a contradiction between those things. I think if people are free, then differences between people will naturally lead to disparities between talents and disparities between resources that people have and so on.
Right.
I think that
taxation is theft. I think
Don't you
communists
share the
also
money
think
accordingly?
that
This is why communism
resources
didn't work, dude.
would be so abundant that there would be no need for a class hierarchy. That's why they want to increase the forces of production to increase resource availability to eliminate the class distinction.
So have you read like?
And that's another part of their theory that sounds wonderful, but also sounds very unrealistic to me. Is the whole post-scarcity idea?
Exactly.
I mean, many of them will say that it's not communism until you have post-scarcity.
Right.
And what post-scarcity really means, if you boil it down, you distill it, is you have infinite of everything, or at least you have so much of everything that people want that you don't have to worry about constraints on how much of everything is available. I don't have to worry about how many, 100
Living in the Garden of Eden, basically.
Yeah, and like this sounds to me like, yeah, that sounds great. I would love to have post-scarcity. Any system that brings about post-scarcity, peacefully anyway, sounds wonderful to me. I don't even think that like some ultra-futuristic paradigm. I mean, we have constraints on natural resources. That's a hard one to conquer. That is to say, things like lithium. There's only so much lithium.
Like libertarian collectivist society to make post-scarcity is, I don't know about that.
I don't think it's possible.
That's another thing. I think that collectivist economic models are probably the least likely to produce some post-scarcity arrangement. I mean, on the free market, resources get allocated based on what people are willing to buy, i.e., what people most urgently want and need. In state socialist systems, in command economies, however, such as the Soviet Union, resources are allocated not based on what people want and need, but based on political interests. For example, in the Soviet Union, the state had luxurious palaces and spaceships, some really cool weapons. They were pioneers when it came to space exploration and fucking, AK-47s, all kinds of cool shit. Satellites.
What about the rate of falling profits?
Yeah, but
the people
were like starving.
The people were
the rate
using
of profit
propaganda.
to fall it is true, but it is only a tendency. It is not something that can actually happen in the real world. It is an observation within the ERE, but it is not something that can actually happen. In the market, you will always tend towards a reduction in profit, but you will never actually get to no profit, because getting to no profit would mean all scarcity would be getting to its most value productive route, which would be impossible. Here's the main reason why scarcity is impossible to get rid of. Even if we were to have just this amazing 3D printer in which we can print all the abundance of goods in which we want, PlayStations, RTX 4090s, whatever you name it, you could have it. You would still have your body, which is a scarce resource. You would still have time, and you would still have opportunity cost, which would essentially mean
capitalist books that are similar to Marx.
Yeah, you can read Man, Economy, and State by.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, Man, Economy, and State by Murray Rothbard is the best one.
It depends what you mean by similar to Marx. If you just mean similar in the sense of being very long, very verbose, but very thought out.
Shit. Like Marx's philosophy.
Right, so the Man, Economy, and State, I think, would be what you're looking for, unless by philosophy you mean like moral philosophy or something, in which case that would not be.
That have had like genius ideas or something, like philosophically, like Marx or something.
Oh, Murray Rothbard. I think he's pretty genius.
Stupid, or do you think he? Was
I don't think he's stupid. I don't think he was stupid. I think that he followed the theory. The economic theory of his time, which was the labor theory of value. Yeah. The issue is that Karl Menger later on discovered the subjective theory of value, which actually more is better at accounting for, or explaining economic situations. And ever since then, the economics has shifted from the LTV towards the STV.
So, like, I think Karl Marx brilliantly constructed a comprehensive ideology out of feeling entitled.
Yeah, basically, it's like everyone.
No, his book Capital was a good economics book for the time, in the sense that he was going off of it's the sense that he was going off of the economics for the time. At the time, everybody believed in the labor theory of value. Even Adam Smith.
For the time in Russia?
It wasn't in Russia. That was Germany, if I'm not mistaken.
Karl Marx. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
The reason it became popular, I was actually researching this yesterday. So the reason Marxist ideology became so prevalent in Russia soon after it, not that long after its creation by Marx and Engels, is because Russia did not yet have anything really resembling what we would think of as capitalism. So Russia was one of the last countries, it might have actually been the very last country to do away with feudalism. They did away with feudalism, at least formally. They did away with feudalism in like 1847, which is way late, by the way. And they still had, in many respects, an entrenched nobility class and an entrenched peasantry class, all the way pretty much up to the point of the early 1900s. So you still had a lot of cultural leanings of the people of Russia to be desperately searching for some alternative. So some ideology comes along promising equality, promising, very nice, pleasant sounding things like everybody being equal in a society that was stricken so harshly by forced and artificial forms of inequality,
just like
i.e. the remnants of the feudalist system and the czarist feudalist system. It sounded good.
Just like Nazism sounded good to Germans.
They're not the same at all.
The economy was struggling.
What are you talking about? Nazism is an authoritarian collectivist model. Feudalism is also that, but it's
so is communism.
They're very different.
No, I was saying just how.
But they both require the violation of property rights to exist.
No,
I was saying
Nazism is far more similar to communism than it is to feudalism, or than either one of them is to feudalism. In fact, the National Socialist economic model, both in theory and actually implemented by the Nazis, was very similar to how the Soviet command economy actually worked. Under the policy of Gleichschaltung, the Nazi party collectivized, functionally collectivized all means of production, just about all means of production in Germany. Production was driven by political command, either by the state or by members of the party. It's true that some private titles were either granted or allowed to stand, generally for party members, but simply holding the private title to, say, a corporation did not make you meaningfully a market participant, because production was still based on quotas being set forth by the Nazi party. They told you how many tires to produce. They told you make this or make that. You weren't simply responsive to market demands.
Yeah, it was all top down.
No, all I was saying was the idea sounded really good at the time to the German people because they were in economic despair.
Absolutely true. And yeah, and they blame my extended relatives for that.
What are you German?
No, I'm not German. I'm Jewish.
Oh, you're saying? Oh, yeah, the Jews.
Yeah, was got a problem with Jewish people?
It did, yeah, and that didn't just start.
Oh, do you have against Jewish people, huh?
I don't know. I don't know of anyone here having a problem against Jewish people. I think the Nazis had somewhat of a problem with Jewish people, and I don't mean to go pointing fingers, but I do suspect the Nazis of having been at least somewhat anti-Semitic, if we're being honest.
Well, yeah, but it's really fucking weird taxation. They did a DNA test on Eva Braun, and she's part Jewish.
Who's Eva Braun?
There's a lot of It's funny how often the most articulate of anti-Semites, not that I'm calling Ava Braun, who by the way is Hitler's girlfriend, actually she was his wife at the time of their death, or their supposed death.
She was a chick.
Oftentimes, a lot of the most articulate of anti-Semites have some Jewish in them. Articulate people often have some Jewish somewhere in their in their background.
Anti-gay people often.
Was Jesus an anti-Semite?
Jesus was a Jew, so it's weird to call it.
How I refer to him as, but okay.
Just like anti-gay people.
I don't think
gay.
It's with anti-gay people being. Well, no, you could make the case because I think a lot of anti-Semites that have some Jewish in them.
Yeah, they're fucking weirdos.
Who?
It actually boggles me. You know what? I'm Jewish saying this. I'm both Jewish and an individualist would implicitly mean I'm anti-racist, but anti-Semitism makes more sense than homophobia. That is to say, at least in the case of anti-Semitism, you can point at me and my people and say, if you apply the collectivist template, which I think is stupid, but if you apply the collectivist template, you can say that we run the media, control the governments disproportionately, we're at the top of corporations and so on. Like,
Not true,
a lot of roles in central banking.
Fight each other all the time.
You said we do what?
You disagree. You disagree with each other all the time. You're not united.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Isn't that the joke?
Oh, I know that. That's true. Yeah.
Opinions?
So at least with us, you could kind of say, like, you could point at central banking, and if you're thinking in a blurry collectivist framework that views people simply as members of groups, then you could point at us and say we're doing all of we're doing the central banking stuff that's driving your country into inflationary ruin.
Expose has somehow doomed all Somalis to a life of fraud, which he never really. He said, "Where are the children?" I'm talking about, the Nick Shirley documentary, and now there's going to be an ICE raid in Maine, which is another hub of Somali. It seems like I saw it like a Somali person was saying. It feels like they're gearing us up to be treated like the Japanese, and I don't think that sounds so far fetched. There seems to be like a. Go ahead.
Sorry, I said I'm worried that the wealth gap here in the U.S. is going to turn violent, like really violent.
What do you mean?
I'm worried.
I think
or not violent.
Like
wealth gap is a bit of a boogeyman.
Once the AI
who cares about the wealth gap?
Yeah, who cares if someone makes more money than me?
I don't give.
Yeah. Who cares?
Well, the problem is
wealth gap.
The problem is that communists care. And they can sometimes get violent.
No, that's
not.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
That's different from
It's not. Look,
the problem is
pointing
the
at
communists.
poverty is not the same thing as wealth inequality. For example, if I have one mansion and you have 1,000 mansions, we have tremendous wealth inequality, but that's fine.
Okay, I'm talking about
whereas
the rich and the poor.
And
right, but
I should have been more.
The main concern about
understand. Rich and poor are relative terms. If you have some people that are far wealthier than other people, then you have a lot of wealth inequality. But that doesn't mean you have poverty. In fact, countries where you have some billionaires, which are generally far wealthier than everybody else, tend to have the richest poor people. Like America is a prime example of this.
No, I have a problem with wealth inequality. I have a problem with poverty. I should have been more. More
poverty. Yeah, poverty is a problem.
Yeah,
poverty is not getting worse, by the way. Poverty has been getting better for thousands and thousands of years, and it's never stopped getting better. Of course, if you zoom in on a particular year, it will sometimes appear to get worse, that level of zoomed in. But if you zoom out to decades and centuries, it's clearly getting way better, especially in the last century. Holy shit.
He didn't have a cup. He used to have a cup, but then he used his hand to get water.
No, over time, of course, yeah. Poverty's gotten a lot better.
Certainly
generally speaking,
poor people have
where you have seen the most violence related to people being angry about poverty has been places where you have the most a combination of extreme poverty and also extreme wealth inequality, where there are a lot of people who are starving, but there is also a clear nobility class or wealthy, moneyed class. And so
There's a
you
big
get
pull
socialistic.
in the third world. If they
Does
can
that happen,
just
like,
get
in,
their
like,
way
Africa
over
and
to
stuff?
Europe or the United States, you notice China doesn't have African immigrants. By the way,
Does
they're
Africa
They don't
have,
really
like-
like black people. That's why.
Does
Well,
Africa
do you
have,
have
like-
some-
because they have a peasant population that has second-class citizenship, and they're not allowed to enter the cities. I mean, they have to live like the people that they have like a kind of like feudal, like burgher, city dweller status, which is very nice to have granted. But the peasants have they liberated the peasants. It's a different kind. The Chinese economy is very.
Chinese are doing a lot
They have
better than
internal
these.
passports. Or just
They are doing amazing. Like, have you seen
They
Chongqing?
lifted
It's incredible.
so many
China
people out of
sucks. I
poverty.
wouldn't want to live there.
I mean,
You can say that
The
about
rent
a lot
in
of
The poor
Chongqing
people
is
there,
like
the
a
poor
single
people there
bedroom,
make like
$700.
$2 a day.
They're
China's
not
pretty
living on. No,
poor.
they're wealthy, dude. That's the thing.
Not
There's
really.
two worlds: the rural and the urban. That's what I'm saying. Is like you have to
Hold
like
on.
get
I
granted.
need to pull up
like,
these numbers about China. Poverty.
There's a
You
lot
have
of
to
people
get
in
granted
China
a
are making like
residency
$2
to
a
live in
day in
city.
fucking sweatshops, working
Give me some
$9 an hour a day.
This is you're
Six-
thinking about Vietnam, dude. This is the- this is the
996.
old-
You ever heard of 996? That's like from 9 in the morning
China
till
has
9 o'clock at
developed
night,
immensely
6
in the
days a
last 10
week.
years.
That refers to people
You're
who
thinking
come
of the
from
old China,
countryside
dude.
to work.
The
in
old
factories.
China. Oh no,
China's-
that's
It's
the
still,
old
like, a
China,
lot
guys.
Yes,
of
for real,
poverty in
dude.
China.
No, they
the sweatshops
changed.
are not the main,
What are the
dude, they
statistics?
make
No, it's
fucking
both.
like for
That's
real.
false.
They make like heavy industry, like they make everything.
I seen this
dude.
one pretty funny
I mean,
video
doesn't
where
mean
they
they're
had
wealthy, though.
you know those
Yeah, they make
drainage
everything.
you know
Not
those
just
drainage
like
things
that.
where water
Wow.
goes down. They had like fake drainage drains in order to like pay people to do nothing essentially.
Drainage drains.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this sounds like a distraction. I mean,
Are you a
what does
China?
that have to do?
Don't be such a China simp. China.
I'm not a China supporter at all.
China
I don't
simp.
like their system of government. I don't like the repression. I don't like. The what is it? The
That's
five
the Uyghurs.
Ps
What they think about
they talk about?
China.
That's what I'm saying, brother. Like, I agree with you. I'm not a China supporter. I'm an American.
I
I support the
don't
United
know,
States.
bro.
I am pro-America.
I feel like your social credit score just went up by like 10 points after this
So
conversation.
that we have our own. Dude, the ICE agents are making Palantir fucking facial registration.
America is America is way better than
The
China.
registry.
I will always be
I think this is what
pro-America
King was
unless-
talking about. I'm not sure ping pong, but yeah, that's not all of China. 996 just refers to country people going into the cities, working in yeah, that's not all China. That's just of.
I know.
Oh, no, that's not all of
simplified it. I
China.
didn't- No, I simplified it. It's a fucking big country. It's complicated, man. But there is a kind of separation between rural and urban that does exist. I mean,
Of course.
But like I exaggerated, Kirby. You're right.
They don't have empty cities or anything like that.
Well, this is an old. Like I'm saying, you're back in Vice News in 2016. Those
That
empty
is a
cities are
terrible mismanagement to have an empty city.
filled. No, those cities are filled now. I don't know, like all those, I used to watch fucking
Of
videos
course. Of course.
All those cities they built are filled? I thought they built just to raise their GDP.
Yeah.
Those
no
cities
way.
that we made fun of them are filled.
Now they're filled after we made fun of them. Yeah.
Well,
Really?
wait, so you're conceding the point. They're filled, aren't they?
I don't think so. I'm just thinking. I think you're
They
just
are.
saying that. I think you're just saying that because you want to make
No, they
China
are.
look better because you're a
They
China.
are.
I feel like you
That's
just
not-
want
that's
to. You want to
man. I
increase
already
your
told
social credit score. That's why you're saying that.
Yes. I could not speak fucking Mandarin or Cantonese or anything.
No, you want
I-
to. You're trying to increase your social credit score, and
I'm gonna live in America till I die.
okay.
I don't have. I'm not a pro-Chinese person by any
Ching
means.
ching 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 a ling ding.
Oh jeez.
Very nice, dude. Very funny.
What is?
Okay, no. See, here's the thing. They have people living in them, but they're not filled to capacity yet. Like I'm looking up some
What?
cities that were built.
That is a
Exactly.
gross mismanagement of scarce resources to
It
have a
is
whole
not, in
city
fact. Their
to have a
economy
whole
is-
city and it's empty. Like, are you kidding me?
Like I'm looking
That's
up
wrong.
right now.
Yeah,
A
but
no capitalist country would build a whole city and then just have it empty.
Kangbashi holds 3 million people, and you have about
2015.
150,000
You
people.
understand that
Wow.
happened since
Good for
then.
China.
And those cities are filled now.
Now they're filled.
There you go again. But they are, but they aren't.
Shouldn't it be good to build a city just to hold more population? Or
It should be good to build a city that has people in it that actually want to go there before it's built. You know.
Well, wait a minute. Buildings are a major economic expenditure and resource. I prefer resources to be allocated in proportion to some quantification of demand. If you just centrally plan a city where you're building this building and that building and this other building just arbitrarily, then you're grossly misappropriating and misallocating and squandering resources. That could.
I'm like looking up a city right now. It was built in 2016, holds 3 million people. 2024 has 150,000 people.
I mean, there you go,
Wow,
man.
that's good for them.
And like you
I'm
said,
so
they're
proud of
only
them.
Rising still.
Do you know how many deaths that translates to?
How many, dude? What are you talking about deaths? Like, do you think Americans
I have
don't
no
die
idea.
on the job site? Do you think
No,
American
that's not
construction
what I'm
workers
saying.
don't die?
That's not what it. No, I'm not talking about construction deaths. I'm talking about the unseen. That is to say, I'm talking about you've got people dying that need medicine. You've got people dying that, in some case, probably not as much these days, but historically, people die in China of starvation quite a bit.
Now, dude.
Now, you're taking. Okay, fine. There's people dying of medical ailments.
In America, yes. If you don't have diabetes, if you don't have health
No,
insurance,
yes,
but that's
in China
whataboutism.
no. People do die of medical ailments in China. In fact, everybody dies of medical ailments.
If you don't have health insurance, you will die.
That's whataboutism.
We're talking about China.
It technically is. I agree.
Okay, when you take a tremendous amount of resources and waste it, that's resources that could have otherwise gone to what people really need, such as treatment for their medical ailment or fucking whatever, all kinds of shit. But it's instead just going to like, hey, why don't we just build a city just in case for one day?
Or trillions to ICE, actually. Like,
Abolish ICE. Abolish ICE.
We were talking about China. We were talking about China. Wasn't the premise that China had built a city?
Well, the United States government has allocated a lot of fucking money to ICE.
This is true of all governments. You do realize that, right?
Is it really?
Yes.
Yes.
Nobody is saying.
Well, I mean, if there are people here, dude, there's people.
I don't think anybody here is. I don't think anybody here is supporting the United States government or ICE.
Yeah.
There's people that apply to come here legally, and then there's bastards coming in illegally, and it's unfair.
They're against
Same
both.
shit.
No, it's people coming in
bastards.
illegally, dude.
Who cares?
I think we should believe. I think we should open the borders 100%.
It makes no difference whether it's legal or illegal. It makes no difference. It's the same. You're just moving. You're moving with or without the permission of some government somewhere.
This is a libertarian.
In either case, if you're the act of moving is not harming somebody else. You're not violating the rights of another person by just moving. Now, if you move into my house, where I haven't said you can do that, then you would be violating my rights. Here's the difference: if you move into my house, if I rent out your room to you, and I say it's okay, but the government doesn't say it's okay, you're not violating anybody's rights. The government doesn't get any. It's not up to them. It's my house. It's not their house.
Yeah, exactly.
So illegal immigration is not some transgression that people should be punished for.
No, of course,
People
but
are benefiting.
do you agree that there should be a maximum number of immigrants?
What did you say?
No.
I think the word immigration, honestly, I would like the word immigration to be removed from the English language, and let's just call it moving. I don't think there should be a maximum number of people who are allowed to move.
The Sahara just keeps expanding and
population.
What if more and more people? Should they all be allowed to come over to America?
What if
All right, guys, I'm calling it a night. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Here.